Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Pipeline. I'm your host, Darren McClymans. We're here to talk about all the geeky goodness that you would ever want to talk about. Probably not, but we're here for it anyways. Man, what a week it's been. I mean, Superman and Lois, Superman Lois, Gotham Knights, Secret Invasion, Superman casting, DCU news, like MCU news, Among Us game. So much came out this week.
And an Among Us game.
Oh yeah. Oh, we are talking about it. We are talking about it. I said game, TV show.
Oh, okay. I was like, Among Us 2 already?
No, TV show. We need to talk about it. I'm here joined by Toxic Taz, my amazing co-host. Taz, how's it going?
It is going well. You said it perfectly. There has been just so much that has happened this week. Another just like action-packed week. Kind of bittersweet with some finales. But there's just so much to discuss, and I'm very excited to just jump right into it.
Yeah, I kind of started the week being like, it's been kind of slow. Not too much news came out, and then the end of the week we had casting, and then 3 great episodes, in my opinion. And I don't know. This is the week where it kind of, I don't know, it just feels good to be like a fan of a thing, fans of things. So I know some weeks it sucks sometimes. We get cancellations and stuff gets put on hold and people come out as racist and, all these things sometimes, or sometimes it sucks to be a fan, right? But I don't know, with news and announcements and a bunch of stuff that came out this week. I'm so excited to talk about it. So starting off in the chat, welcoming everybody. This Taz fella is here. He said, War Machine, is a Skrull confirmed? Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe. Stranger in the chat. How's it going, Stranger?
How's it going?
Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. It also feels, and I think we'll talk about this a little bit more at the end, it kind of feels like a big milestone episode for this podcast, at least, because I welcomed you on for the second episode of Superman and Lois and Secret Invasion. I started this in general to talk about the Flash and Superman and Lois after the episodes aired, and I've kind of transitioned them a little bit and how I do them just a little bit. But I'm very sad, but also very excited to kind of move on and cover different stuff in these upcoming months. And I think there's some fun things in store for this year in general, because we still got a lot of stuff. There's still a lot of things happening.
Oh yeah, I mean, we're kind of at the halfway point, I'd say, for content and everything like that. Pretty much smack dab in the middle of the year right now. We've had so much just amazing stuff that's already come out, but if you just look forward to what the rest of the year has in store, it's a great time to be just a fan of just comic book media in general, and just all things just nerdy, I guess is really the best way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, if you just kind of look at it, I mean, we have the back half of a Doom Patrol. We have Secret Invasion left, we have Loki left, we have Echo left, we have Harley Quinn, we have Invincible, we have the Superman show, we have Spider-Man 2, and a whole bunch of stuff in this back half that I'm just very jazzed to talk about.
We have Ahsoka coming out. I just saw the Witcher account posts earlier today that the first half of season 3 comes out tonight at 3 a.m. or something. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, so. I everything I just said are just superhero stuff. There's Dune Part 2 and Barbie and Oppenheimer and I didn't even mention Aquaman and Blue Beetle. There's so much stuff. And I'm here to cover most of it. So diving into some superhero stuff. I don't know why I added this one, but I did kind of want to spring it up to kind of add kind of how we're feeling on this project. So Aubrey Plaza, love Aubrey, think she's great. I love her as an actress. Agatha Coven of Chaos is the most elevated Marvel material that's out there. Obviously it's these actors' job to push out this movie or show or whatever. This has been a really weird show to me. I don't know how you feel. Because when it was announced, it was one of those, I don't know, because this feels like, in a way, almost the first spin-off of a thing. Because it feels like almost every project it's been oh yeah, that's that hero, that's Iron Man, that's Captain America, that's whatever, that's Luke Cage, and they are their own independent hero, where Agatha does really feel, and I guess maybe Loki kind of feels like a spin-off as well. But this feels like the one project where it's where does this fit in to the larger Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting. It seems like from everything that we've heard, it's basically as close as we're going to get to a WandaVision season 2. It's obviously going to, focus mostly on Agatha. Hopefully, we'll get a Agatha All Along Part 2. But it seems like it's been in like a really weird developmental spot, and I keep seeing like conflicting reports, like, oh, it's been put on hold. Oh, it's filming actually right now. Like, I'm not really sure what's going on with it. I'm not sure when it's supposed to come out. There's just been so many just like mixed reports about it, but whenever we actually get some real like concrete stuff on it, I'm very excited. And it seems like it's going to just like further explore like the mystical, magical side of the MCU and possibly set up for more in that realm going forward.
Yeah, it does feel like it's in a weird spot. I think I know Secret Invasion isn't doing great right now, right? Like I think I think by normal standards it's doing fine, but by the MCU standards and like what Disney Plus wants, it hasn't been doing great. And I wonder if a show like this is going to kind of be in that similar category. It kind of fits in with like Echo, Agatha, and like a What If, where it kind of feels like might be a project where they just kind of push out, be like, all right, here it is. Like it kind of feels like I don't know if that's just like what fans are feeling, or if that's how they really feel as well. And I'm very curious to see, again, like what are the consequences of the show? Is it just kind of a one-off, fun little show that you can kind of just skip over, or is this going to like, is Kang going to be in here and all these characters? And it's weird because I do think it's a show that could have like, this could be a cameo fest show. There's so many characters that could fit in. Like you could bring in a Wong, you could bring in your like runaway characters, or even your Wanda type stuff. So I'm very curious to see what this ultimately turns out to be.
Yeah. I'm thinking we might see our boy Ralph again.
Oh yeah?
Yeah,
I think we might
who
get
knows?
the other one.
Oh,
We might
like
get Evan.
okay.
No.
Oh.
No.
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yes, that's it. Yes.
Quicksilver. Okay, yeah. I mean, like, I think that there's just a lot of possibilities here. I know that there are rumors that there's an older version of one of Wanda's kids in this show as well. So it's going to be more so, I feel like, just like fallout of WandaVision and possibly a little bit of fallout of Multiverse of Madness, even in a way as well, because we kind of ended that off with kind of a is Wanda coming back? Is she not coming back? I mean, we're pretty sure that she will be coming back at some point, but I feel like maybe this show in some way could carry on from where we left off in that as well, which I would definitely be very interested in, and maybe almost be like a bridging show before we get Doctor Strange 3 even.
Or even like Vision Quest as well, because that's supposed to be
a thing.
Another WandaVision spell.
And I hope that the Vision series takes a lot of inspiration from that Vision comic where he like made the whole like android family and stuff like that. Like that was really cool. I know that they had some aspects of that as well in WandaVision. But I think it would be very cool if they kind of like built off of that and maybe introduced some of those characters in there as well.
Sure. Yeah, no, I mean, I hope it's good. I hope this show has a little bit more creative freedom as well, because it seems like, maybe not your biggest watch to like understand the Marvel universe, right? So it seems like it might be a little bit on its own, a little bit on it, kind of doing its own thing. So I hope that, I would hope that they'll be able to just be like, you know what, have fun, do your thing, make a good show, and not like Kevin Feige over, it has to do this and this and this. I don't know. I always like, I mean, that should be every project. I think, I wish creators had more control over like what they're making, but
yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be mostly a somewhat standalone series, but also maybe like in the end tie into the wider MCU, be very similar in many ways to how WandaVision started. And then, kind of gave it our nice ties by the end.
Yeah. We are here with another stream with Skrull, Darren, and Toxic Chaz. Yeah, I mean, I actually talked to regular Darren today, and he said he's only coming back if we hit 1 million subscribers by next week.
Oh wow!
So I'm not sure what that means. I don't know what he expects from us, but we'll see.
I think it means that you need to do what Grogu back here is holding and subscribe.
Yeah, I need to start doing those clickbait videos, I guess. So Among Us, the animated series, obviously the most important topic today. I think we have to spend a whole 45 minutes breaking this down because this is massive news. So Infinity Train creator Owen Dennis is developing the Among Us animated series. I thought this would be a fun little category to bring up. Were you a fan of this game at all? When in its
I
prime?
played it like very briefly when it first came out. I was never very good at it, but I always thought it was pretty fun. I thought it was a funny game. I mean, isn't Secret Invasion just live action Among Us?
They were the template, I guess.
and I definitely love throwing out a "there is one imposter among us" line whenever I possibly can.
I think this game really got popular at like the right time. Like this was such a perfect COVID game.
Yeah, it was like
and it got me through.
Yeah.
It was just a fun little way because I was in my senior year of high school. That was 2021. So there was a lot of like homeschooling and a lot of that kind of stuff for that first half. And a lot of just my friends, and we'd be like, we would end a class session and be like, do you guys just want to jump in a game? And I think that's a lot of fun. I love Infinity Train. I don't know if you saw that show at all, but it's one of my favorite animated shows. I just think it's such a fun, unique concept, and I think if they can actually bring that style into the show, that'd be great. Because I think Among Us, I don't even think this is a bad idea. Like, it's obviously a cash grab, but like it has there's potential. Oh yeah, you could do some fun things here, I think.
Just get like a star-studded voice cast. And like
Chris Pratt as Red.
And you're sold.
Chris Pratt, Tom Holland, Pedro Pascal. Oh, you're ready to go. I wonder what the style of the show is going to be. Is it going to be like, I don't know if you remember those old Angry Bird short things where they would...
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, it could be something like that, or imagine it's just like a gritty a gritty take on it. It's just
it just wins Emmys. Oh, that'd be really funny. When I first saw this, I got excited because I went Among Us the animated series. I'm glad you're excited, man. I might check this out. It might be a fun little... We'll see. Harley Quinn season 4 premieres in July 27th on Max. I am very excited for this. I love Harley Quinn. It's crazy that Harley Quinn is one of the last DC TV shows standing. That was not on my bucket list. I did not expect that.
And the last animated show standing, because Young Justice isn't coming back either.
The last DC Universe show.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's really funny because this is their third streaming service. They went from DC Universe to HBO Max to now Max.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I do think this one might I think the creators have said they have plans up to like season 7 or something insane like that.
Yeah, this seems like a show that could literally just continue for as long as the people involved want to do it.
Yeah, and I think with just like these adult animated shows, they last forever. Your South Park, your Family Guy, your like Simpsons, like those things last forever. And I don't know. I'm very curious about this one. I think there's content there that you can definitely go on for a while. I don't know how long. Like, I don't think I want 20 seasons of the show or anything. But I wonder how long it's going to go. Because I'm not a big fan of your adult animated shows usually. This is one of the rare examples where I'm really into them. But from what I've heard from certain people, it does seem like the longer some of these shows go, the meaner, the crueler, the more insane they sometimes get. And I don't know if I want that for Harley Quinn, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. I mean, this is a show that, like, everything I've seen, like, people seem to really love it. Like, it does a very good job of almost like, being like a nice like satire thing on the whole like DC universe as just like with using these characters and everything like that. I think it's pretty funny, and it's not anything like revolutionary, but I think it's just like a nice comedy, and it's good to see like these characters in a pretty nice animation style too. So
I like this one a lot because, again, I haven't watched many. I haven't watched much of like your Family Guy or anything like that. But I think what this one I really like is that it does have your adult jokes and a lot of your sex humor and stuff like that. But like these characters are generally like they're nice to each other. Like they are nice people and they generally care. It has a lot of heart and soul, and the way that they write these characters, like they do care for them as a whole. And I feel like that's a rare to see in this adult animation spot, right? It feels like you can always have fart jokes and sex and and like they all hate each other and always beating each other up, from the stuff I've seen, obviously. And I think that's something very refreshing. Yeah, and I'm fine if the show goes on for several more years. I'm totally okay with that.
I know my brother is definitely excited about that. I know he was. I mean, he didn't even see the news, and I showed it to him a couple days ago, and he was like, "Oh wow!" He's like, "Yeah, he's very excited for that."
Yeah.
He loves shout out Bane in that show. He's always
Bane
showing me
is
clips of Bane.
so
Yeah,
good.
Bane's great.
Oh, just to watch, just at least Bane clips. They are the best. He will always be my favorite Bane. I don't care. Like, you can have the most well-written Bane of all time, and he will still be my favorite. I love him so much.
No, it's great too because he just like with the voice actor just does like the most extreme impersonation of the Tom Hardy Bane.
Oh yeah,
it just like it cranked up to 11, and it's hilarious.
And I can't think, like, I don't like other Banes now. Just a very like I cannot I can't take serious Bane now. He's just
like I almost feel like that's like the Bane from Batman and Robin if he was allowed to talk more.
Trinity said, "Wow, breaking news: The Boys season 4 postponed by the writer's strike." I mean,
not surprising.
It wasn't supposed to come out until next year anyway.
It seems like a lot of things are gonna be kind of pushed back a little bit, and we're coming up on halfway through what the writer strike was from like the mid 2000s.
Yeah.
So we might, if something's not decided on soon, we could be in for quite a few delays. Unfortunately.
Yeah, we could be. I think next year might be a dry one.
Yeah,
not just for like DC, but for everything. Like I think,
and that's kind of a reason why I think too, like a lot of companies and stuff are pulling out of Comic-Con because you can't announce anything when there's this writer strike going on. You can't send actors either. And whatever you announce is all subject to change because nothing's on track as it should be.
I think Marvel actually might be in a good spot because they got a lot of saved up stuff. Like
yeah.
I would not be shocked if they push Echo back until next year.
Yeah.
Because it does just feel like, all right, let's just push this thing out. But if they are looking at like everything, like we can't film anything next year. Let's just push this back until like mid 24 or something.
And it's weird too that they said that they were going to drop it all at once. Like I almost think a much better option would be push it back to 2024 and then release it weekly like all the other shows. Like make it like maybe a late January, early February show when there's nothing really coming out. I think that would be a much better spot for it, rather than just kind of like randomly dumping it all at the end of the year.
I the only reason I say maybe I think they still want Daredevil next year. I think they were still planning on Daredevil next year.
Yeah.
And I think,
and obviously Echo has to come out first.
Yes, 100%. So I mean, I still want Daredevil to come out, but obviously we might not get, like, if they know they can't get that out, they might push Echo back, I think.
Yeah. But I mean, I'd much rather them delay things than, not be able to make them to the best of their abilities. Like
and like we've heard, it's not like they weren't finished, it didn't seem like there were worries about it not, like, them not getting to be able to do all they wanted to do. And that sucks. Robert in the house, howdy, how are we doing, gentlemen? I'm doing good. Taz, are you doing good?
I'm doing well. I'm doing very well.
Taj in the house, he said, I forgot Echo was a show. Fair enough. I mean, there hasn't been anything out for it. Like, they need to start promoting that, actually. Like, we need a...
Yeah. I mean, I would assume...
That's October?
Yeah, and I would assume Vincent D'Onofrio is going to be back as Kingpin in that, too.
Yes.
Probably. So, like,
he's going to be the head of that promotion.
He's going to be a big draw. Daredevil's going to be in it as well. Like, I mean, just throw a poster up with the three of them on there, and everybody's going to watch it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Maybe. Taz in the house. Taj Taz. Taj Taz. Yeah, I'm very excited for our Harley Quinn, though. So this actually came out a couple weeks ago, but I forgot to talk about it on here. So I want to bring it up. A new DC animated series, Beast Boy Lone Wolf, is in the works at Hanna-Barbera Studios. So a couple weeks ago, there was like a big animation panel thing, and they put out a bunch of stuff for like the new Batman shows and Superman. And this was one that I don't know if it was announced previously, and I didn't hear about it, but they did announce this thing. I'm very curious about it. What are your thoughts? Would you watch a Beast Boy show?
Oh yeah, I'll definitely watch it. I hadn't heard about it until this news came out, but
Mm,
I think it should be fun. I mean, Beast Boy is always a great character. I think they did very well with him in the final season of Titans.
hmm
I guess it just depends also on, who the voice actor is. Are they going to bring back Ryan Potter
Sipes. Yeah. Mm,
from Titans, or are they going to use
Greg Sipes.
the
Yeah.
that has been voicing him ever since the original Teen Titans animated series? So I don't think you could go wrong either way. I'm just excited to see where it goes. I wonder if he's going to be also exploring the red quite a bit in there too.
I'm so curious about this because I think Beast Boy works exceptionally well in like animated projects. I think
Yeah.
it's hard to do him in live action.
Oh yeah. I mean, the
Um,
transformations are going to look great in animation.
yes, like if anyone's seen the like classic Teen Titans show, I mean it's like that's the highlight for me is just seeing Beast Boy and what he can do in that form. I'm curious kind of what the tone of this is. Is this like a Teen Titans Go type world where it's
Hmm.
like that version of the character? Is it something completely new? Again, is Craig coming back as Greg? I'm sorry, Greg does such a great job. I love
Yeah.
him as that.
Yeah.
He's just that character now, and I
Yeah.
love that
Yeah.
for him. And just kind of like the tone of it, because again, like Lone Wolf, I feel like this could either be like a prequel before he's like part of the like Teen Titans and he's like his origin, or could it be a world where he's like off the Teen Titans and he's like on his own and he's being a superhero and all that kind of stuff. And I think both could be cool. Could be
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I think it definitely has a lot of potential to be very fun. And again, they have
hmm
the ability to do some really cool things just because of the fact that it is an animation, have some really unique transformations, and not be held back by a lot of the parameters that I guess the live action interpretation had
Yeah.
to deal with just because that was live action and they were dealing with specific budgets and CGI
hmm
and all that. So I'm very excited for it, and I hadn't heard about it before it was announced, but I'm all in for it.
Yeah. 100%. I did want to bring this up. I forgot to make it a topic, but hey, guys,
Yes.
did you hear about the new Flash TV show on Apple? I think it's actually Apple Podcast. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a scripted podcast. I heard I couldn't find an article for it anywhere. I had to watch Eric's video on it. He did a very good breakdown of it. Essentially, it sounds like Flashpoint mixed with like Hunger Games, which is a pretty fun concept. I will say, with it being a podcast form, I feel like you could do a lot of fun things with that. But it sounds interesting enough. It sounds like Flashpoint, but with Iris uh, instead of Nora, I guess. Are you gonna like listen to this at all, or?
I mean, I heard about it when it got announced. I was a little confused as to what it was
Yes.
originally, and then I kind of looked a little bit deeper at it, and I was like, oh, it's one of those like audio drama
Yes.
podcast type of things. So it's basically like going to be sort of like an audiobook, I feel like.
Yes.
So, I'm definitely interested in it. I might give it a listen, if it has some good reviews and stuff like that. But I've usually not kind of like dove really deep into these like audio dramas. I know that they
hmm
did one a Batman one at one point as well, but never ended up listening to that. The closest I've gotten is like listening to some like Star Wars audiobooks on Audible because they've got all the nice like sound effects and the music and
hmm
stuff. So if it's something like that, it could be very good.
I was very shocked at first because I was like, because again, I didn't see it anywhere. I didn't see any of
Hmm.
the main outlets talk about it, and I was like, they're getting a new TV show so soon. And it is kind of funny because I thought about it about kind of like what the future of the Flash is
Yeah.
because I think it's in a really weird spot for DCU's Flash because
Yeah. Yeah.
we just got done with a 9 season show, or about 10 years worth of it, and I have a hard time thinking they would want to do another one so soon. But then the movie isn't doing well at all,
Yeah.
and I can't see them doing a movie. So it's like to do a game.
I don't. I would love a Flash game. I know that there was a canceled
Yeah.
Flash game a while back. All the early stuff looked really cool. If you've seen, people have been doing mods for Spider-Man on PC.
Mhm.
And throw in the Flash and stuff like that, and it looks really cool. So I think a Flash game
Yeah.
could be very fun. I know that there are a lot of theories with the Suicide Squad game, the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game.
Yeah.
Flash is in that, and it's supposed to be in the Batman Arkham universe. And there's a lot of theories that maybe the game ends with the Flash kind of like flash pointing, or
Oh, that'd
like
be cool.
what is it, Justice League
Ooh.
Apocalypse War, and kind of just like
Sure.
resetting the whole timeline, and then that maybe gives birth to all of the new DC games.
Interesting. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
I am very curious to see what we do with Flash. Like, I would be very down with, like, even like a animated project as well.
Yeah,
like
that was the
I
other
think
thing I was thinking about.
a like Flash animated movie, like high budget, that would look insanely cool.
Yeah, yeah, or just like a Flash family animated show
That'd be
or
cool.
something, where like maybe each episode's like,
Anthology. Yeah.
yeah, is like focusing on a different member of the Flash family and stuff like that. Like that'd be really fun.
Or even just like Kid Flash. Like
Yeah.
like maybe you can't do a Flash show again, but Kid Flash
Maybe
show could be
yeah,
kinda
or like
cool.
or a Wally West show, or a Jake Garrick
Mhm.
show, something like that.
That'd be cool. That'd be very cool. I'm very curious where we take Flash in the movies, because
Yeah,
I very much want Wally West.
I
But
do too.
I think you have to do it in a way where you do both. Like I think we've talked about this once or twice, but I think you have to have it. Like, I think Barry's the current Flash, but you do it from the like perspective of Wally, kind of like
Right,
what like
right.
Young Justice did, where like
Mm-hmm.
Barry is the Flash, but Wally is the character that we follow. So
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
something like that.
Right, if we maybe did like a Teen Titans thing, or just like
Yeah.
or even set up like a Young Justice, because I know James Gunn
Mm.
again has said that they're drawing some inspiration from Young Justice, from
Sure.
the the Justice League animated series from back in the day as well, in the new DCU. So that would be fun. Like I know you're missing out on a lot if you just skip over Barry, say he's already dead, he's already in the Speed Force, whatever, and Wally's the Flash. Like there's a lot that you're skipping over.
Yes.
There's a massive rogues gallery that you're not getting. But the fact that the new DCU is going to be this like lived-in world, I think it
Yes.
would make a lot of sense if Wally is already Kid Flash and maybe on his way to taking up that mantle of the Flash. Like I feel like maybe if we get another Flash movie, it could be Barry's movie, but by the end of it, maybe he sacrifices himself,
Yeah.
maybe he goes into the Speed Force, and then we're left with Wally, and he is our main Flash for a while.
Yeah, I think I could definitely see a world where we end chapter 1 with Barry dying, and that's your
Yeah.
massive sacrifice to kind of end that chapter 1, and then you start chapter 2 with Wally being the Flash.
Yeah.
Because I 100% think there's either a Titans project really, really soon, or a Young Justice, or something in that world.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I mean, we have Blue Beetle. I assume we have Dick. I assume we have a Damian.
Yeah.
We've seen photos of like a Raven. I don't know. It just seems like, and also I think James Gunn, like I would love a James Gunn directed like Titans movie. Like
Yeah,
I think
that'd
that
be
would
fun.
slap.
Yeah, I mean, I just like the way I'm envisioning it is that we're starting the DCU kind of in a very similar spot to where we saw Young Justice right at the beginning. Like we have an established Justice League, we have all of these sidekicks that are established as well. I mean, I think we're going to start somewhere similar to that. I know Superman Legacy, again, it's not going to be like an origin story, but it'll still be like an early days Superman. So, maybe we haven't quite gotten to Justice League yet.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's definitely room to say, hey, these heroes have heard of each other. They know of each other. They maybe have teamed up here and there. They haven't maybe established a Justice League, but it would go a long way to say that this universe is kind of, pre-established with all of these heroes and their sidekicks and stuff like that. Especially if in Brave and the Bold, we're already at Damian Wayne Robin, which means we've already had Dick, we've already had Jason, and we've already had Tim. So...
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, is there a chance that the Justice League is already there? Like, I hope that's not what we do, because I think there is something fun about getting to see them form for the
establishing
first
it.
time. Yeah, I think that's maybe a little bit too much of a jump. But I don't know. Defunct asked, Taz, have you ever noticed that you have a voice well suited to audiobooks and such?
Thank you. I appreciate it. I've definitely wanted to do like voice acting and stuff. I
You'd be
really like
good at
that.
that.
I like talking. I like doing commentaries and stuff. So audiobooks, voice acting, that type of thing, definitely something I'm interested in the future. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Very nice. Let me look up chat here. Robert says, I'm excited for it, honestly. I got the feeling inside of what I imagine they are trying to get with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and its winding universe in a very street level but meaningful way. I see we're talking about Echo here. And I agree. It does kind of feel like its own little world, and I'm very excited for the like street level quality to it, because we haven't had much of that in the MCU outside of the like Netflix era, I guess, of
Yeah.
things. And I guess it fits because this is kind of like our preach into that world again with Mad and Kingpin, and rumors of like our like Jessica Jones popping in there as well. So we'll see. I hope it's good.
Yeah, I mean, I think if it's anything like Hawkeye, as far as that kind of street level goes, I think we're heading in a really good direction.
Sure. Let's move on here. So my adventures with Superman, I just want to kind of put this up here as it's got really good reviews this week. I saw a whole bunch of them. I was reading through them, and they were all just like, "Hey, this slaps. This is really good." And it comes out not next week. Well, it does come out next week, but it should be the stream after next week, because we usually stream around on Wednesdays ish, Tuesday, Wednesday. It comes out Thursday, so we'll just be missing it. But I'm honestly, I'm really excited to cover the show. I think it just kind of feels like everything I love about Superman just kind of like rolled up into like this package, and I'm really excited. Are you excited for the show, Taz?
Yeah, I am. It's been a while since we've had a true Superman animated series, and from all of the early reactions and everything like that, it seems like it definitely does justice to the character. It's going to be a nice way to kind of bridge the gap between the end now of Superman and Lois season 3 and the beginning of season 4. Going to kind of like fill that like Superman that Superman-sized void in our hearts while we're waiting for the next season, and also I guess maybe give us, something to look at and see like, oh, maybe we could see something like this maybe in the Superman Legacy movie as well. And I think also this has a very nice animation style. It looks very fluid and everything from all of the trailers and stuff like that. And again, it just looks like it's a very like respectful take on the character, and I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think everything just looks like a lot of fun, and it is kind of nice. Like just this week just feels like it's a great time to be a Superman fan with this finale, which was epic, and I can't wait to talk about it, and the casting, and then this next week, it just feels great because how many years did we have nothing, right? No movies. No, I mean, we had Superman Lois the last couple of years, right? But we haven't had much, and just to feel like. Feels like fans are finally getting rewarded for such a long wait without very much of anything. And I'm very excited. Taj said, bring back Luke Cage. I would love to bring back Luke Cage. I still have not watched Luke Cage, but bring it back.
Luke Cage was good. Luke Cage was really good. It ended in a weird spot, but it was good.
I think I watched the first 3 episodes, and then I watched Defenders. So I've seen a little bit of it, and I think he did great. I'll probably try and catch up on that side of the MCU once some of this stuff's closer to coming out, because I've seen all of Daredevil. I love that show. I've seen Defenders. I've seen the first season of Jessica Jones, and that's it. And then just like a couple of these certain episodes sprinkled in. Yeah, I'm very excited.
Wait, you're telling me you haven't seen Iron Fist?
No, I've heard rough things. I've heard, but I loved him in Defenders. Like, I want like a Heroes for Hire show. Like, just for those two.
Season 2 is much better than season 1.
I heard it.
I will say,
Defunct says, didn't realize it was coming so soon. Sweet. Yeah, I'm very excited. It'll be fun to talk about, I think. A nice little transition from Superman and Lois. And it seems like very similar in tone as far as like what they're going for. Like I've heard that both Superman and Lois are very present in that show, and both have their own storylines. And I love that about Superman and Lois. So we're in for a good treat. Moving more into some DC news, man, we got some fun DC news coming up here. So Angel Manuel, I totally pronounced that name wrong, says he envisioned Blue Beetle as a trilogy and he hopes he's able to execute it. Blue Beetle, do you think it's going to get a trilogy?
If it makes a profit, it's definitely going to get a sequel. Like, I mean, here's the thing. The last few DC movies have been struggling with making profit, and that obviously is the big thing for Warner Brothers. They're a business at the end of the day, and that's what they want to see from their products, is they want to see them be monetarily successful. And I think if Blue Beetle does well at the box office, I don't see why we wouldn't see a sequel. But unfortunately, if something happens like it did with The Flash, then we might not see another movie. We might see him pop up in other projects. So it's definitely just going to be kind of like watch this space, see how the box office does, see what the fan reception is to the movie. I'm very excited for it. I hope it does well. I think it definitely has the potential to do really well. I feel like it has the ability to do, numbers similar to, like, say, Aquaman. Aquaman was very much so a surprise. Like, it didn't do amazing, I don't think, in like its first week, but it slowly ramped up and ended up making over $1 billion. Do I think Blue Beetle will make that? It depends on what it's competing with when it comes out and stuff like that. But again, I'm excited for it. I hope that this vision for a trilogy is able to be seen out. But again, it all depends on what the box office reception is, unfortunately.
I think Blue Beetle definitely could make a splash. I really do. I think it's a character that definitely can. I think it can definitely be that, like, Black Panther type movie for a lot of people. Thing is, it comes out in like 50 days. It's like 50, 60 days, something crazy like that. Like, it comes out less than 2 months. We need another trailer like now. They need to push this now.
Yeah.
Like, if they market it right, I could see it doing okay. But like,
yeah, I don't think the budget was that high, so I don't think they have like a massive ceiling to reach. Like, I think if it actually does kind of as well as The Flash did, it'll make profit. And that's what it's looking for. I think, also having your main actor, having the Blue Beetle be so recognizable, Sholo from Cobra Kai, I think he's going to be a big draw for this movie as well. So, I think that is also something very positive that they have going for it. It seems like the entire cast is very passionate about the product as well. So again, it just boils down to what are they competing with, and how well does it do at the box office, and will it make that 1 billion Beetle bucks?
Yeah, I just think, like, I don't think a lot of people even know about it yet, which really sucks. Like,
yeah, they haven't done a very good job marketing it.
They need a new trailer now.
We have one trailer, and that's it.
I assume that they were waiting for like Comic-Con, right? And that makes sense to me. But like, we don't even know if they're going yet. Like, it's
I mean,
it's
I kind of
messy.
thought that they would drop a new trailer maybe like with Flash, but that didn't happen. So I mean, maybe they'll drop something around Comic-Con. But yeah, this movie comes out in like a month and a half. So
yeah,
they better ramp up.
Yeah, no, I hope it's good. Jack LaVoss said, not trying to be negative, but I'd be shocked if Blue Beetle does well at the box office. I'm very 50-50 on it so far. I can see it going either way. I hope it does well, though. I really do. I want this movie. And, it's a character, like, I think we've talked about this many times. Yeah, I think he's safe in this universe. Like, James Gunn has already said, he's in, he's good.
Right.
And like, even if we don't get a trilogy, it could be like Teen Titans or Booster Gold or even Justice League if they really wanted to.
Yeah. Or Young Justice, like we like we keep saying.
Yeah, he could pop up almost anywhere. And I think I was thinking about it earlier. I was wondering, okay, if movie doesn't do well, how would you feel if we did like a show instead? Like we gave him like a series.
That'd be fun. Especially since Cobra Kai is wrapping up with this next season. I mean, I think that would also be a very good option. I know originally Blue Beetle was supposed to be one of those straight to streaming movies anyway. It was going to be very similar to Batgirl. It was going to be straight to streaming on HBO Max when it was HBO Max, but straight to streaming on Max now. But now they're allowing it to have like a theatrical run. But yeah, I think a series would also be a nice middle ground for a continuation. Like
Sure.
maybe if we can't, it doesn't do well enough to warrant a sequel, maybe we'll get maybe like a Blue Beetle Booster Gold series. Like I know we're getting a Booster Gold project. I can't remember
Oh
if
yeah,
that was a
sure.
series or a movie, but if it's a series, you could easily throw Blue Beetle in there, because the way I feel like this could possibly go is maybe like a post credit scene or something
Yes.
will be like setting up Booster Gold,
Cliffhanger.
maybe the
Yeah.
original Ted Cord Blue Beetle as well. Maybe they're kind of like off in doing some time travel stuff or something.
Yeah, I mean, I could see Ted Cord being in the first season, and then maybe we end the first season with Booster meeting this version of the Blue Beetle. I think could be a
Right.
nice way to set it up.
Right,
Either
and be
set
like, oh,
up,
where's my buddy Ted Cord?
yeah. I think that could be really cool.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for this character because it's a character I've been wanting to see in live action for a while now. So it's fun to. I just hope people go watch this movie. It looks like a fun time.
I do too.
Promo Central, my good buddy. He said, "Yo yo, yo yo, how's it going?"
Yo yo yo.
Hero's Journey in the chat. How's it going, Hero's Journey?
Hello, how are you?
Let's move on here. Oh my gosh, we're 40 minutes in. we have
Where does
we
the
have a
time
lot
go?
to go. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Good
So
thing we
James
started
Gunn,
early.
so this has been a pretty controversial thing. It's weird because this stuff came out before the Flash movie came out, right? And now that the Flash has come out, it's like, oh, that didn't age awfully well. So James Gunn said people have gotten really lazy with their superhero movies. I'm watching third act of superhero films where I really just don't feel like there's a rhyme or reason for what's happening. I don't care about the characters. Flash.
Oh, you okay there?
oh yeah, I just coughed. No, it's weird because I think Flash is almost like a mix of this, right? Because I think there is a lot of heart and character to what is going on in the Flash movie. I really do think that. But a lot of that third act is punch, punch, kick, kick. That is a common complaint in a lot of these comic book movies.
The consensus seems to be that the Flash definitely somewhat falls apart in that, unfortunately. So, is it in reference to that? I don't know, because James Gunn was speaking very highly of the Flash before it came out. I don't know what else he would be referring to, because he obviously isn't referring to Guardians 3, which is his own movie. He's obviously not referring to Spider-Verse.
Shazam?
Maybe Shazam, maybe Quantumania. But
yeah, I mean, he had talked a lot about like the MCU and all that kind of stuff in that like interview with like Michael Rosenbaum. So yeah. I'm 100% agree with a lot of that. And I think those type movies are fine in moderation. I think it's just the issue is that a lot of them are like that, and there's so many of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like the superhero movie formula, right? Like, Act 1 is kind of like setting the stage, setting everything up. If it's an origin movie, getting through that origin point. The, second act is kind of like the big, big hero moments and everything like that. Very much so like coming into their own as a hero, setting the stage for that big final act. And it's very hard to find, something to do in that third act that isn't big CGI battle. Deadpool says it very well. He's like, big CGI monster fight coming right up. Like, it's very hard to avoid that in comic book media because that's just kind of the nature of the genre. Like, what sets some apart is being able to have maybe like a smaller scale third act, like something that's not as massive. I guess really Guardians Volume 3, like it had a big third act, but it wasn't like a big giant like massive CGI fight. Like we had that one take, or the fake one take hallway scene and everything like that, and then kind of like the big rescue was the third act of that movie. And I think that's kind of like a nice middle ground between like the big CGI action set pieces. But in many ways I do like that. And thinking of this season of, or this finale of Superman and Lois in that respect, the third act was the best part of the episode. Yeah. So I know we'll get to that, but it just depends. It depends.
That's a good point. That's exactly what that was. Yeah, I mean, I think we are in a very, almost a scary point in comic book movies where it's like, I love these things. I could watch 100 of these things, honestly, but people crave new. Like, there are so many of them. People, when making these superhero movies and shows, you almost have to be like, all right, how do we change the formula every time?
Right.
And I almost think that could almost become the like death of superhero movies as we know them. Obviously,
Right.
one of the reasons I'm so excited for like James Gunn's like new era is we got like space odysseys and like horror movies and like like I think Superman could be your classic superhero journey type movie, but then you have Batman who feels very different and all these different things like Booster Gold's a comedy and you got all these kind of things. I'm very excited for that, and I think that could change the game. But like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you almost ask like, what if you change formula too much? Is it still that same thing, or is it something completely different?
And that's almost the issue I feel like a lot of people are having with Secret Invasion. It's very much so a
Yes.
slower paced show. It's very much so about character development. It's about, these longer drawn out conversation scenes, not so much about big action set pieces. Very similar to the Marvel Netflix shows. And I know a lot of people didn't like those because of how much of a slow burn that they were.
Yes.
But I think in many ways, when you're building up so slowly to like the big action part of it makes it a lot more special. And I think it you know makes it a lot more worth the journey, I think, in the end.
Yeah, I mean, I think Secret Invasion is everything people have been asking for the last couple of years, and
Right.
people seem to hate it. So
Yeah, exactly. I'm just seeing a lot of
scary.
people say like, "Oh,
Yeah.
it's boring." People are just sitting there and talking. It's like, what
That's
do you
what
want?
you
Do you want
wanted.
big? Right. It's like, do you want this big CGI mishmash? I don't know.
It's hard because it almost feels Guardians almost felt like that perfect in the middle
The
mark
perfect
where it's like
balance.
we
Yeah.
can please everyone here, almost everyone.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
even then, there's people. It's too dark. I don't want. I don't know. It's weird. It's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
It's coming to a
It's hard
point.
to it's hard to please everybody.
It's
Like
really
you
hard.
can't. You got to go into these things knowing that you're not going to make everybody happy, unfortunately. And I know I'm going to get I'm going to get a lot of hate for bringing this up. But there was this quote from Ryan Johnson when Star Wars Episode 8 Last Jedi came out. He was like, if I come out of this movie, half the people love it, half the people hate it, I know I've done a good job. And I know people hate that quote. It's like, oh, why would you want to piss off half the fan base? But that's almost kind of what you're looking for when you're making something. Is like in many ways, it's nice if there's a debate, if there's a little bit of controversy there. Like, you want people to be talking about it, and I think it's an interesting balance that you have to find.
Yeah. I mean, Star Wars is another one, and I think
that's
Marvel is that.
its own animal.
Oh yeah, I think Marvel is getting to that point. Like, I think Phase 4 has turned into what Star Wars has been for a while, and I hate that. I really do. But it's kind of thing where you just kind of have to do your own thing, and if people hate it, oh well, move on. It's
yeah. A lot of people also like to say it's like, who hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans, and that seems very true for now. Marvel and DC as well. Like, the biggest critics are the people that are supposed to love it.
Yeah, 100%. Rest of Phase 5 is going to be an interesting journey for sure. Hero's Journey talks a lot about just kind of his opinion and kind of what that means. And I 100% agree when it comes to the emotion of Secret Invasion. I don't want to get into it just yet because we have a whole talk about it. But this episode, man, I loved a lot of this episode. I really, really did. I love what they're doing. It feels like what I've been wanting for a while. All right, moving along here. We got a couple more of these, and we gotta keep it moving. So this isn't a new, like, this isn't news, right? But I kind of wanted to do some more of these as the weeks go on, just kind of taking a thing I see online and being like, how do we feel about this thing? How are we feeling? So obviously, there was a lot of rumors over the last couple of weeks that not Christopher Nolan, coming out here.
Christian Bale.
Thank you. Close enough. I got the same.
You got the Chris part right.
I got the Christian Bale was apparently, we don't quite know how true it was, but there was a lot of talks that he was asked to come back for the Flash movie, and he said no. Apparently, like DC begged. I don't know how true
Yeah.
any of that is. And it caused a kind of a bit of an uproar. And I saw this opinion online. I was very curious to see what you think. Wild that the face of DC refused to come back. So I'm very curious to see who do you think is the current face of DC? Do you think it's Christian Bale, or like who do you think it is?
I mean, not the current face of DC. I mean, he was definitely the face
At
of
one
DC
point.
when,
Yes.
at one point during the Dark Knight trilogy, but that has shifted quite a bit. For a time, I would have said Henry Cavill.
Mhm.
For another time, I almost would have said Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
But, now it's just like, I don't know. I really don't know who the face of DC is. Like, I mean, in many ways, you could almost say, if you're, extending that to the TV side of things, Stephen Amell.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's probably the safest bet, just because, we know that the Spectre rebirthed the entire universe. That's the reason why, any of this is possible. I know that The Rock wanted to be the face of DC, but that definitely did not happen. But I think in many ways, it's a good thing that he didn't come back for the Flash movie, just because we know how that end cameo was. It was more so just like a throwaway joke cameo, and I think Christian Bale will come back when the time is right, and I know he said that he won't come back unless Nolan is involved. So I'm excited to see what that project would be at some point in the future, whether that be, an Elseworld story, and that is, Dark Knight 4, basically, or if he comes back in some, like, multiversal thing that, again, Nolan is involved in. But I think in many ways it was kind of like a batarang dodged that he didn't come back.
I think that would have been the worst thing that could possibly happen for them, because we are starting to start fresh, and I already see so many people being like, why don't we, like, this is the ending to this movie, and we would have spent 5 more years with hashtags if he came back, because everyone would want to see him as our new Batman. Everybody. I would love to see it, because I love his Batman. I love those movies. I would have been okay if he wanted to come back and be our current Batman. I would have been okay with that. Again, I won't dive into that post-credit scene, but it causes a lot of problem as it is, and you add him, you throw him there, and
it's an even messier end than it already is.
Again, the face, I could argue Gal, because I think Gal has been one of the more consistent.
Right, and I mean, she's popped up in so many things now. She had a quick little cameo in Shazam, quick little cameo here in The Flash as well.
Again, I think Henry Cavill is definitely up there. I think when people think of DC, they think of Superman, who has, who was our Superman, Henry. I would, I feel like people would get angry with this answer, but like, Margot Robbie has been like consistently here, and it seems like she's going over to a new universe. So you could argue Margot. I feel like that's, I don't know. I feel like I'd get hate for saying that. I mean, in general, like Kevin Conroy, I think should get thrown in there, right? Because Kevin Conroy, I mean, he's been
if you're
Batman.
extending to animation, of course.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, James Gunn, I think about a lot now, because he is like our Kevin Feige.
He is the Kevin Feige of DC. So in many ways, he's the I guess the corporate face of DC.
Sure. Who would be the face of DC for James Gunn's DC universe? I mean, it's way too early to tell, but I mean, we may have found out recently, this past week, who's our face, depending if they go more with Superman or Batman as kind of your featured character, but I don't know. Defunct says Gal turns up in everything, so I'd go her. The new DC universe hasn't even started yet, so no.
Exactly.
But I would assume it's going to be either a Superman or a Batman, or even, I don't know, maybe even like a Waller or something crazy like that, because like Waller's been keep coming back as well. So
who's the face of DC now? It is John Cena Peacemaker.
All right, the big news, the big things we've all been waiting for. I've been dodging people asking in the chat. So David Cornsweat and Rachel Bronston. I hope I'm
think it's
pronouncing that.
I think it's Brosnahan is how
That
people are
sounds right.
pronouncing
That
it.
sounds right.
Yeah.
Are Superman and Lois Lane in James Gunn's Superman Legacy in theaters on July 11th, 2025. It's here. It's finally out. I've been so excited. I mean, we have talked about all week. Where it's like it seems like it's here. Like it seems like just all the articles that were coming out, all of the things. It seems like they were really close to finally casting someone. These are two people we have talked about quite a bit. So right off the bat, what are your opinions on our new Superman, our new Clark Kent, and our new Lois Lane?
I mean, it's not very surprising just because these two were on that short list for a
Yeah.
long time. These have been people that, these have been actors that people have been talking about for a while. I remember seeing, I think you might have like quote tweeted something that somebody tweeted out about them being Clark and Lois back in like 2020. So
Yeah, that's
they
insane.
they've been on the list for a while. I'm not super familiar with their work. I hadn't really
Yeah.
heard of them until kind of like the fan castings and stuff came out. But after it happened, I did a little bit of research and everything. It seems like David Cornsweet has been kind of somewhat campaigning for the role for a while as well. Not really campaigning, but has said that he'd be interested in it. I remember seeing a quote saying, that he enjoyed Henry Cavill's like dark and grittier take, but he'd love to explore kind of like that much more brighter, much more hopeful version of Superman. And I think that that's a great mindset to go in with the character, and that seems like what the direction that they're going for with Superman Legacy. I think both of them definitely look the part as well. I know that's only half the battle, but I'm very excited to see kind of like, how they play out and everything like that. And again, it seems like the general consensus is that this was the big fan casting that everybody wanted. So I'm happy to see that for the most part everybody seems to be very excited about this new direction.
Yeah, I think half the people are excited. There's obviously that corner of the internet that's been a rough battle.
I just choose to ignore that.
Yeah. Oh, it's been rough. No,
I
I think
know.
David. I love David. He, out of those people that that we'd seen, I love this casting. That just looks like Clark Kent to me. I think he just has that Superman face. He looks like he'll be perfect. They cast it a little older than I thought because they had said like what mid-20s. I think he's 29.
29, yeah.
Yeah.
He could definitely play 25.
Oh yeah, no, I think he'll be fine. I it just wasn't what I expected. But no, I think he was my number one pick out of the people we've seen. I personally wanted Emma Mackey because I love that actress. I think she's great in so many other things I love. But I think Rachel's going to do great. I really have. I think the most important thing with this casting was chemistry. Getting a Clark and Lois that have chemistry and feel like authentic to who they are. And I think Rachel's a bit older than David, so I think that could be kind of a fun little back and forth. Kind of like what Smallville had, where I think they had that's what I want from this Clark and Lois. That like Smallville had a perfect back and forth, almost like a brother sister like arguing bit that I love so much. I would love if they kind of went in that direction in just a little bit because I think that's a lot of fun. But again, I think it's most important that not only these characters are fresh and original to their own self. Like I don't want David to be like Henry or Tyler or anything like that. I want them to be their own characters, but also have a special bond that makes those characters their own. It's just nice to kind of have something official. Like we can grasp onto something where it's like, okay, that's our Superman. Let's move forward with that. And I think, this feels so like monumental. Like when you think imagine first seeing Robert Downey Jr. get casted as Iron Man, knowing back then like what we know now. And obviously we don't know how successful this franchise is going to be. But I'm very curious. I'm very excited to see the rest of the cast because we don't know much about Lex or Jimmy or I don't know, like a Perry White or something like that. But
yeah, I mean, I'm very excited about this casting just because James Gunn has cast very well in the past. Like he's cast, relatively unknowns back when, Guardians came out. Like I think Guardians really, made the careers of a lot of those actors.
Yes.
Like I think I would argue maybe the most well-known out of all of them was like Dave Bautista just because of WWE. So I think in many ways, again, as much as I'm not super familiar with them, I'm excited that we've got actors here that, you know, I can learn about. I can, you know, see them evolve and grow into these characters and stuff. And it seems like, you know, they're in a very good spot to play these characters for a long, long time.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I mean, like, both seem pretty, I don't want to say small, but both I was looking at David and I didn't recognize any of the things he was in. And that's what I wanted. I want Superman to be surrounded by David. Like, I want him to transform into Superman. That's who he is.
Yeah. I don't want to, like, kind of have it be like, you know, with The Rock and Black Adam. Like, you just see The Rock in a Black Adam costume.
Yeah.
Like, I would like to be lost in the character and just kind of, like, forget about the actor in a way.
And I hope, since they're small enough, I hope they can just appear in anything. Like, I love the idea of David just appearing like Booster Gold. Because, you know, he's Superman. He can appear any of these.
Yeah.
And, like, apparently he'll be in the games and the show, animated shows
they're
as
really,
well.
You know, going that far and having these actors be in all forms of media. Like,
yes.
That's exciting. That's exciting.
I hope he's ready to play Superman for a very long time. Apparently there's a 12-inch difference between them. That's kind of interesting.
A full foot.
Let me look at the chat real quick. Stranger wants Austin Butler for Aquaman. I'd be fine with that. That'll be pretty fun casting. Can he grow out like a beard? Like a, I don't know. I guess he doesn't need a beard.
No.
Stranger didn't like Emma. Fair enough. I disagree, but fair enough. Stranger said David was fantastic in Hollywood. I heard that was good. I think my friend was just about to watch that the other day. So, yeah. Debunk said, oh, crap. Yeah, he was in Hollywood. I saw that. He was great. I don't like scary movies, so I don't know. I might not watch that. But all right, let's move on here. So James Gunn said they are miles and miles away from casting the new Batman. So this was kind of interesting because I kind of assumed, maybe not right away, but I assumed that maybe around the corner they would at least be thinking about Batman castings. I almost thought, like, oh, maybe at Comic-Con this year we could have Superman, Batman, and like a Wonder Woman, like come up in like Whole H or something.
That'd be interesting.
When do you think we can expect a Batman casting?
I mean, if we are miles and miles away, then I definitely would not expect anything, at least this year. You know, maybe something around this time next year, because I don't know when Brave and the Bold is supposed to be coming out. Is that like a 2026?
We haven't heard. I've always just kind of thought, well, if Superman's 2020, I think the only thing,
then it could be the next year.
Because we have 26. Superman, we have Authorities, and then we have Brave and the Bold, I think, is our next movie. So that
could be either 26 or 27.
I don't know.
I mean, so there's definitely a lot of time. And then I think this also kind of debunks the whole theory that Batman could show up in Superman Legacy if they're this far away from casting him. You know, but what I would actually like is for them to keep it on the down low, not let us know of the Batman casting, and just let him appear. Just let him appear.
That
in
would
something,
be amazing.
And
that's what I wanted with this.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we're just watching something and like, oh, there we go. It's Jensen Ackles as Batman.
Oh, that, okay, yeah, sure.
So, I'm hoping that that's the direction that.
Or again, just like a Comic-Con thing. I love that kind of stuff too. Where it's like, here's your Batman. It's like, whoa.
Comes out on stage in full Batman suit.
Yeah. That'd be great. I would love Jensen. I really would. I think, like, I was looking the other day and he's 39, I think. Like, he's
that's like, honestly, I mean, but that's almost like the perfect age, honestly, for the Bruce that they're going for. Again, if he's gonna be kind of like, you know, peak of his career, again, has gone through all the Robins, is ready for Damian Wayne. I'm sure that there's a Batgirl out there at some as well at this point.
Sure.
So, you know, I think that that's kind of the perfect age. And again, also they can play a little bit younger as well with these actors. Like, they can not de-age them, but, you know, just different makeup and hair techniques and stuff like that to make them look a little bit younger. So I wouldn't, you know, completely rule that out just because he's 10 years older than Superman. And
Yeah.
and that's honestly almost a good age gap too, I think.
Yeah, it could be. What, like mid-20s to what,
Yeah,
like early 40s? Yeah.
Yeah, so like kind of my thought is, if this Superman, if we've got David Cornsweet is 29, he'll probably play like a mid-20s Clark. And then whatever actor that they get for Bruce, he'll probably end up playing like a mid-30s to early 40s Bruce. Which is still like 15, 20 years younger than, the versions of Bruce that we were getting with, Ben Affleck, with Michael Keaton, that type of stuff. So
Sure. Justin said Branahan gives off major Margaret Kelly vibes. I agree. She does. It looks like they're going very back to the basics when it comes to Superman.
Looks
And,
very classic Lois Lane.
Yes. 100%. 100%. Let's move on. Let's talk more about the Superman casting stuff. So Nicholas Hoult has now lost out on playing both Batman and Superman. There's still a chance he could be on the short list to play Lex Luthor. What are your thoughts on this whole Nicholas Hoult thing? Because there was a part of me that was just like, it would be cool if he lost on Batman and then got Superman. Do you think there's anyone in this space that he could play, or do you think he's just doomed to play Beast forever?
I don't know. Like, it's interesting. He was the only actor that I was super familiar with out of the entire short list and everything. And this did definitely remind me. I forgot that he was even, in the running for Batman at one point.
It was him and
well.
Robert, I think, in like the final two.
Right. So that's very interesting. I could he play Lex? Sure. I just hope that he gets a chance to play a DC character. Like I liked him in the X-Men movies as Beast. Yeah. So, I think he's a good actor. I think he could definitely play somebody. There's so many characters he could play.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's so many white guys that they have that they need to cast. And I've been hearing a lot of people now say Flash, like Barry Allen. And at first I was like, that's not it. And I was like, wait, I could look like an older. Yeah.
Yeah,
I can see it. Especially if we're going for like the older-ish kind of like a 40s, like mid-40s kind of Barry Allen.
Yeah, and I mean, again, Barry doesn't have to be blonde, so he doesn't have to be blonde like the
will say, I think they should finally do blonde. I will say, I think fans have been wanting that for long enough.
Maybe, like that's not he could dye his hair.
Yeah,
It'd be easier for a movie than for shows.
I'll be honest. I could see. You know what? It would be funny if he lost out to Batman, then lost out to Superman, but then got Batman again. Would be kind of sick. If he played our Batman.
That would be interesting.
That'd be really funny. I don't know if he looks too much like. I don't know if he's too close to Robert.
I just don't know if I see him as Batman, to be honest. Sure. I don't know. I just don't know if he's got that that Batman vibe. I could be wrong. Again, like I wholeheartedly trust these casting directors and everything like that. Like, we've been proven wrong so many times with casting, so I will never how's it going, Lance? I will never downplay a casting.
Sure.
Like these people are professionals. They're casting the best actor for the role, and you just gotta take it.
I agree. I see him more as Batman than I did Superman. But again, I could have seen him transforming into like my Superman. Like when I see that man, I don't just see Superman. But like maybe that could have been the cool part of it, is that he's a very like when you like there's a big argument currently going on that he's just Henry Cavill. But then I see another post, I'm like, that's just like Tom Welling. And the thing I like, David looks like a Superman. He looks like all the Supermans
he just looks like he could be Superman.
Lance says, I see Darren as Flash and Taz as Martian Manhunter.
Interesting.
I'll take it.
I didn't think about that. That's a good casting. Was also throw my hood in the ring for Jason Todd Red Hood. That'd be fun too.
So glad fans don't do the castings. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because a lot of fan castings come down to just, does the actor look like the character, and that's not the way you cast.
Earlier today, I saw a Wonder Woman. What's her name? Jenna Ortega as Wonder Woman today, and I was like, no.
Not at all. Not at all.
Oh, yeah, there's some rough ones. Like I can see the like Raven type thing that could be going wrong, even though that's the most typecasted thing ever. Like that's
Yeah.
just Wednesday.
Yeah.
But you know, I would be okay with that. Wonder Woman's a step too far for me though. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. Shriner said I want Jensen Ackles as Batman, but now I want Finn Wittrock as Batman, and I can't get that fan casting out of my head. I don't know if I know that actor at the top of my head. Do you?
I have not heard of him, no.
I adore Holt, but the only one of these roles I could see him playing would be a Lex or a Joker. Ooh, Joker would be kind of fun.
Interesting.
I like Lex a lot. I could see him as like that bratty young adult that gets what he wants until he meets a Superman and it makes that his life purpose or whatever. Like I think he could play a really fun young Superman or young Joker or Lex. Let's see. Debunked. I don't see him as Batman or Superman. I don't disagree. He nails the roles of narcissist. I agree. If you've seen the menu that came out last year, like that feels like it could be.
It was on TV one night. I saw some parts of it.
Odd question. When were you two born? 1805 was my birthday. How about you, Taz?
I was born on Mars, actually. So that Martian Manhunter,
where?
Fan casting
where were you born? Oh,
yeah, Mars. So that's that's accurate.
Gotham. I was almost murdered as a baby.
Oh my god.
Does that get the stream cut down? I don't know. Murder and baby in the same sentence might get us shut down.
Just
Said
keep
it
going.
twice.
Just keep going.
I didn't see Holt as Beast, but he killed the role. That's fair. That's very fair. Beast is also, though, a very, I think, kind of standard character. Like, I think anyone can kind of fit into that role as well. So speaking of Lex Luthor, Alexander and Bill Skarsgård are on the short list to play Lex Luthor in Superman Legacy. The Lex Luthor saga has begun. We've got Clark, we got Lois, now it's time for Lex. And I think it's very funny because, like, he still said, like, I never said there's a Lex Luthor in my movie. I never said that. I think that's very funny.
I find it so weird how this like casting all came about. Like it didn't seem like we were very close, and then just like the shortlist came out, and then the casting came out literally the next day, and then James Gunn was like, "Yep, accurate, cool." And I was like, "Okay, sure."
Yeah. I mean, are you okay with these casts? I'm not like an expert with these two or anything. Is this these castings that you could?
Yeah, I mean they're both very good actors, so you know I could see either one of them. I think it's very funny that it's like a brother versus brother.
It's funny. Chris Hemsworth
and Liam Hemsworth. Yeah. So yeah, very similar situation to something like that. But you know, I think again, I have faith in the casting process, and I think the correct actor will be chosen.
And said it's going to be Michael Rosenbaum. I'm down. Cast someone. Like cast him as someone in here.
Yeah. But I mean, again, he did say on his podcast, "You're great." I think he said that he's the best Lex Luthor, but not right for his movie.
Which I feel. I could definitely see that. Again, cast him as like his father. Like I think that'd be such a fun like legacy casting. Yeah, that'd be great. Or even just like a random like bartender or something, just to have him in there. Bring in Tom, bring in all that kind of fun stuff. I think could be fun. Alexander will always be Eric Northman to me. I absolutely love him. Yeah, I'm very curious. I feel like we're going to get more of these names over the next couple of weeks on who's going to be our Lex, and I'm very curious about Jimmy. Like, I'm so excited to see like a new Jimmy pop up because that feels like it's been such a we haven't had much Jimmy, just period. Like,
well, yeah, we haven't had like a real Jimmy Olsen in a while. Like, you know, I mean, we had James Olsen, but he's like, you know, the Chad Jimmy Olsen.
Just in movies, just like in general. Like, I cannot remember the last movie he was in proper beside BBS for that 13 seconds.
It was Superman Returns, the Brandon Routh Superman, I believe.
Oh, was he? Okay, it's been a minute since I've seen that. So
I believe he was in that one.
Okay, well, very nice. Good for him. That's been a while too.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
alrighty. So that's all I have for notes here. If you want, I'm down jumping into Secret Invasion. Newest episode came out
Yes.
today, Disney Plus, episode 2. Just right off the bat, just kind of how are you feeling? Just off the bat episodes, off the bat of Secret Invasion.
I'm enjoying it more than I thought I would, for sure. I've now stayed up until 3 a.m. both weeks in a row to watch it, so that's been fun. I think again, it's a very different Marvel show. It's much more focused on character building. It's much more focused on dialogue. It's much more focused on just like the emotional aspects, the spy thriller, that kind of thing. So it's not your big superhero action set piece type of show. And I think they also did a very good job kind of explaining why as well this week. How, they were like, oh, can't we just get the Avengers involved? And then Nick Fury brought up a very good point. It's like, hey, no, the Skrulls could literally just turn into them and we'd have an even bigger mess on our hands, kind of referring to comic book Secret Invasion in a way. So, I think, again, this show has definitely surprised me. I see the criticisms online for it, but I think that's how this show is designed. It's designed as very much so a slow burn, and I think it's very hard to judge a 6-episode miniseries, an event from just the first 2 episodes. Like it's a whole movie. It would be like, judging a movie on the first 30 minutes of it.
Yeah.
There's still so much more story to tell.
Yeah, no, I think just kind of off the bat, I don't know if like this is, it's too early to say. Maybe they dropped the ball. This is some of the most I've enjoyed of these like Disney Plus shows because it feels. I hate using this because I think it gets used too much, but it feels like a real show, and
yeah,
there
it's
hasn't
definitely
been
the highest quality.
This feels like something you'd see on like HBO or like Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a real show, and that's what I've been wanting for a while. I love TV. I think it's one of my favorite mediums ever, and I think what Disney Plus has been doing, as some of it's good, I like some of it, but it's not what I want when it comes to TV. This feels like what I've been asking for. This feels like what I've wanted, not only for a while, but like I think this should have been. This should have been right after Endgame. I really do think so. This feels like it's set. This is what I wanted. I wanted consequences for the blip, and it feels like they've tried. Like they've tried over the years to do that. This feels like the first time we're actually getting. Like we're getting it. It feels like a side effect to all of that, to the last 5 years of the MCU, from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, from Captain Marvel. Like there feels like there's so much weight and tension, and I love what they're doing with this character. Like besides like this and Guardians feels like what I've been asking for, and I'm not saying they all have to be these like deep and gritty shows and movies. That's not what I always need, right? I'm fine with upbeat and fun. But its treatment of characters is what I've been missing, I think, because they understand them at their core. I think this is easily the most in-depth we've ever seen Fury. In 2 episodes.
Yes.
2 episodes.
Yeah, I love it.
Like, he's, like, it's done in such a way where it's not a different character. It's not like we're seeing someone, it's an evolution of almost like a 2D character that we've seen over
you're just peeling back the layers and actually kind of like seeing what made Fury the man he is in all those movies that we've seen him in.
Yeah, no, it's what I want, and like this is almost 20 years of worth of Fury, almost, right? Well, we've had Fury for a minute, and like we're still getting more.
Showed up at the end of Iron Man 1 in what 2008, 2009, something like that. Yeah. So
no,
it's crazy.
It's insane. I love just again like we talked about this a bit earlier, but it's what, again, I think it's what MCU fans have been asking for. It's that it focuses on character, has less humor. There's a very groundedness to it. It's not just like cameos and laughs and all that stuff. It's a real show, and I'm adoring it. And like just the dialogue. Like I think dialogue is so important, and I think in recent MCU projects, that's been one of the issues I've had. Is some dialogue feels fake. It feels like AI generated, and there are like 3 scenes here where I was like, what the hell? This was so good. It was so well written. I love it so much. I've been talking way too much. what else are you kind of feeling about this episode?
Oh yeah, I mean, just building off of what you said, nobody can cry bad writing on this. They can't go to
No.
their normal crutch of like, oh, there's bad writing. No, this is some of the best writing that we've seen, especially in any MCU show. But some of the best writing, I think, from throughout the entire MCU. Like it's very interesting how they've weaved this story of this Skrull invasion and just kind of
Yes.
having it seamlessly kind of blend in. Like, oh, they've always been there. Like, remember at the end of Captain Marvel when they came to Earth, like they've just been, secretly building up this organization throughout all of the MCU's history, really, and have just been kind of like working in the shadows, working in the background. And I thought it was very interesting. Like, it was revealed in one of the very first scenes of this episode, like, there's millions of Skrulls on Earth just living among us.
Could be anyone. Could be literally
like anybody could be a Skrull. Like it's crazy, like the person down the street could be a Skrull. Your teacher could be a Skrull. I could be a Skrull. Darren's definitely a Skrull.
No, and I think I was just saying that it should have took place like right after Endgame, and I still kind of agree with that. But I think there's something really good about it taking place 5 years after Captain Marvel came out, because there feels like there's an active, like, oh, this has been taking place over a long period of time. Like in canon it's been 30 years, but even for us it's like Captain Marvel, that was forever ago. Like he made that promise a long time ago, and you feel those consequences. And I think I don't want to jump too far ahead, but I think one thing I do love is the villains so far. Like MCU villains is a tough rope. I don't think there's a lot of great ones, but like this is the first villain since Endgame, since Thanos, where I was like, they're not wrong. Where I'm like, if I was in their shoes, I might be doing the same thing. I don't know, because they are so compelling in what they're doing, and they feel so justified. And I think it's often hard, like there's moments where I was like, oh, Nick Fury, how could you do this? How could you mess up so bad? Nick Fury messed up bad. Like he flipped up, man. Like and there's that moment, and I think that's hard to write, and they're doing it so justifiably, where it's like, yeah, he messed up, but we still love him and we want him to like succeed. But it's like, but should he? Like, is he in the right currently? I don't know.
Yeah, they're doing a very good job of showing Fury's flaws. Like he's definitely a flawed character. He's been presented as kind of like the guy that knows everything. He knows what's going on. He has an answer for everything. But this show has showed us, like, he doesn't always know what to do, and he makes the wrong choice sometimes. And the wrong choice was that he didn't help these Skrulls out as much as he claimed he would, and then that kind of spawned this uprising, and you have some villains that you can almost sympathize with, I feel like, as well. And they're doing a very good job of building them up. They're definitely going a lot further as far as what these villains are doing, what the impact of them is in the overall MCU. I was very surprised by the ending of episode 1, very surprised by what they've done, what they plan to do. Again, very, very, also very dark for the MCU as well. Like it's in many ways like eerily real.
They chopped off a man's finger. They didn't censor it. They just chopped it off.
Yeah, no,
my grandma was.
You can see bone and all in there.
Oh yeah, no, it looked really good. I was like, oh my gosh, that's
yeah.
And I love that stuff. I think we are finally. I think they are understanding that not every project needs to be censored, and I love that. I am very curious though, because I think we're going to see more of what happened with Fury and what led him to not fulfilling his promise. I'm wondering how much of that is the snap, because he was gone for 5 years.
I think a lot of it is. I think we somewhat mentioned it last week, was that I think that just threw him for a loop. He's got some PTSD from it. That kind of showed him he doesn't quite know how the whole universe works. Like, he's got to figure some stuff out, and he's been put in this very odd position. And I think also maybe the fact that the snap happened also kind of definitely plays into the fact that he was not able to fulfill this promise that he made to the Skrulls all those years ago. And I do also want to mention, I thought that the de-aging at the beginning of this episode looked
so good,
seamless, looked flawless. And I'm like, why is this technology so good? It's scary good. It is scary good.
Oh yeah, he looked great. Like that was one of my favorite parts of the like Captain Marvel movie. Like they did a
Hmm.
whole movie with that.
Right.
And I guess we kind of can dive into the notes a little bit. Like I love the whole opening flashback stuff. That's what I
Hmm.
wanted last week. Like I said last week, show don't tell, and they
Yes.
showed. Like I
Yes,
got
they
that. I
did.
got what I wanted this week, and I loved it. And it was just kind of cool just seeing that time era of Fury again because I think that's a very interesting time with Fury. Like when they first started to like announce these like Disney Plus shows, I had said like I would love like a that era type show where it's like young Nick Fury, young Coulson
Hmm.
trying to make her way, and that's kind of what this is in a backwards type way, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to get through some of these chats. Chat's going away and talking a lot. I'm very happy to see it. Defunct said the series is a spy drama thing with a superhero setting. I am into that. And again, that's what we've been asking for. We've been
Yeah.
asking for these different genre superhero projects, and it's that at its core. I just, again, my only fear is just because a lot of these projects have done that. They've dived into these different genres, and then it was like, whoopsie, now it's now it's what we've seen in these third act Marvel movie type stuff, and I have faith that they won't do that here. I don't see a way where they could ultimately do that, but I mean I don't know, who knows. Hero's Journey said, should we see War Machine versus Talos Super Skrull in finale? Maybe, if it doesn't become what we literally just talked about with like the third act Marvel super battle
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want there to be a big final. I think this is the perfect show to do like not a big final battle. Like I know, in many ways I feel like this is the type of show that you talk down your big bad.
Yeah.
Because we saw in the beginning of this episode, like Fury has somewhat of a history with Gravik, however you want to pronounce it, with the the main Skrull guy. So I feel like maybe a conversation between the two of them, not a fight. I think that's kind of how you resolve this conflict. Like
Yeah.
I think they both have to present their sides and everything like that. And I don't think in this scenario that violence is the answer. I know that's kind of like a very flash thing to do, but I think that this is the perfect show to do that in.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Fury can't win. Like he can't beat
Right.
a million scrolls.
And like literally Gravik said it in this episode. He was like, I could have killed him. Like I had the chance to kill Fury, but I didn't because he's not the man he used to be. Like that just
Yeah.
I'd be giving him what he wanted basically. And I thought that was very interesting.
I could see a world even where Fury loses. Like that
Yeah.
like what if that's a twist where it's like, you know what, you were right, and let's make a compromise. I
Yeah.
could see an ending
Yeah.
where it's like, you can't take over the earth. That's not an option. I will call Thor down here and kill all you. Let's not go down this route. But maybe we can make a compromise. Let's find you. I don't know. Something along those lines. Or should Talos be defeated? Well, I don't think Talos will be defeated. I think he's still on our
Talos
side.
is I
Yeah.
think Talos is
Yeah.
he's good. He's a good boy Skrull.
Which, I think it's a good time to bring up that train scene between Nick and Talos. Again, I said this over on Twitter. That was one of my favorite scenes in the MCU in a while. Like it's in like from Phase 4 or 5, probably my top 5 scenes. It was brilliant, and again, I love getting to see two masterful actors just play and have these dialogues. Like normally in the MCU, you don't just see dialogue scenes, and we got a lot of that. Like just two characters talking. I think this was Nick Fury's best scene. Like just like inside the MCU, I thought it was brilliant. He got the act. He got I know there's a lot of talks where like, oh, yelling isn't all like that doesn't like that's not what makes up a good actor. It's just them yelling. And I agree, but there's something about just Nick Fury just getting that all out and finding out there's a million Skrulls on Earth and he didn't know about it.
Yeah.
And that's fun. And again, there's like a like vulnerability to this Nick. He doesn't know it. He doesn't know what's going on now. And I think that's an interesting part of his character because he's always known. And now he's out of the loop. And I'm so excited to see kind of where it goes.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And also I'm very happy that we've got the chance to have all of these nice like intimate character moments and they're not undermined by just like a joke at the end.
Yes.
It's not that standard like MCU type of thing. Like it's allowed to play out. So we're allowed to have these like darker moments. We're allowed to have these more, quiet moments, these drawn out conversations. And again, they're not undermined by a joke or some random comedy aspect or like, physical comedy or, anything like that. Like it's just allowed to play out and, run its course and do what it's meant to do.
100%. Defunct says Samuel L. Jackson is a great actor, and it's fantastic to see him actually really flex that in the MCU. 100% agree. He's like so much of the MCU actors just don't get to play and don't get to like stretch those muscles, and it's a shame because we have like just in this show there's a lot of talent.
Cast. There's a lot of talent here.
I love it so much. I'm excited. Like, I'm kind of sad there's only 4 left because it feels
this
like
makes me want a Mace Windu show too. Bro definitely survived when he flew out the window.
I get this is a 6th episode event, but there's a part of me that's like, well, do like a WandaVision type thing where it's like you have another Nick Fury show, but it's not Secret Invasion. It's just like another kind of story with Nick Fury. Because I think he's a character that can have a lot.
Do you think he'll pop up in Armor Wars?
I think so. I really do. I feel like that could fit him. I mean, maybe not like a full character, but like
just like
I think he appears.
Yeah. Especially with what we had with Rhodey this week. What did you think about that? I think that it definitely leaned into our Skrull theory quite a bit.
Yes. I think again that was another one of those scenes where it's just a powerhouse of a scene. And getting to see these 2 actors just talk and argue it through, and seeing Fury come in or Rhodey come in and fire Fury was such a well done scene.
It's just just constructed so perfectly, and it's something that you don't normally get to see. Like you barely get to see these 2 interact, if ever interact. Like
I think that might be our first time.
Yeah.
And I think this is Rhodey's best scene as well. Like, I don't think he's ever been better than that scene right there.
Yeah.
And it's been very fun to see him evolve since Endgame. If that's our Rhodey, if that's a Skrull Rhodey, if that's whatever it is. I think I don't know. I'm just so curious to see where Rhodey evolves because like there is something about it where it's like, well, what if he's not a Skrull? What if this is just who he is now? I think there's a really fun back and forth between like being like what happens after the Avengers fall, because they've definitely teased and several projects now that the Avengers are no longer a thing. Everyone kind of went their own separate ways to just go back to a normal job. So seeing him like evolve in his career and become like next to like the president, and like all that jazz, I thought was just a lot of fun to see. And again, Rhodey gets to play. Like he's always just been Iron Man's best friend. Like he's never had anything of his own of substance. And he's a fun character. He comes in, he does a few jokes and leaves, right? And he's finally getting that, and I love that for him. And again, I'm so excited for his movie that's coming up. I think he's really gonna to thrive there.
Oh yeah. I think that this definitely is going to, in many ways, set the stage for Armor Wars, and I'm very
100%.
excited that that's going to actually be a movie now, instead of a series. While I'm sure it would have still worked as a series, I think it's going to be great to actually see, Don Cheadle get to take this character into a solo film.
100%. I think he deserves that. I think he deserves his big screen movie. I'm telling you right now, next week, Daisy Johnson comes back. I'm in a weird spot with Daisy because kind of seeing the show it's has transformed into. I would do anything for Daisy to pop up. Obviously, I love that character. But I do hope it's done in a way that doesn't feel like cameo time and these characters that are here for 15 seconds to make a cameo. I hope there's even a part of me that's like, do I want them here? Do I, as much as I love Daisy, like I love Daisy, I would love for her to pop in. I just hope it's done in a way that fits the show's tone, because as much as I love Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they do have very different tones with the kind of show they are. Even though they do feel like they could be one giant puzzle, like one giant trilogy, if you will, with Agent Carter and then S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't know, because Daisy's a character, obviously a very powerful character. I don't even know how she'd fit. Like she could just blast all these characters out. And if she got turned into a Skrull, that's bad news. Like, she could destroy the Earth. That'd be very, very unfortunate. So I almost wonder if you would have a character in here like you're like LMD Coulson, or like your Fitzsimmons, or even Mac, which is currently the director of Shield. So yeah, I'd be curious. But you know, I hope we see Daisy, of course.
I think there's just a lot of possibility that so many characters could pop up in here.
I could see
it's
some
really
cameos.
the perfect spot to do those.
Yeah.
And I know we can't get our hopes up, like we can't just cry Mephisto all the time, but
yeah, it's tough because, again, I want those characters to pop in, but also, like, I'm honestly so invested currently that I don't need cameos. It could just be this.
Oh yeah. We don't need to always undermine things with cameos.
Yeah, 100%. When does this take place in Marvel Phase 5? It's hard to tell because, like, now they would just have, like, oh, it took place before this one. I would assume current timeline until we hear otherwise. That's always how I like to approach it, at least. I saw we had cameos of, like, Groot and stuff like that as well. We had those little, like, references.
Yeah, just
and
little,
stuff.
and like the database.
Mm.
I mean, I'm guessing that this is just like MCU present day, which is what, like 2024, 2025, something like that.
Sure. 1994 to 2025, Nick Fury had years, so I doubt it was the snap. May have been related to his wife, which we will talk about. He did have quite a few years before then. I wonder just how, like, what he was doing.
I
right?
mean, he
like,
just got wrapped up in a bunch of Avengers stuff, you know? So obviously, like, there's that gap, I guess, then the 1994 to 2008 gap. You know, what was he doing there? But maybe, you know, setting the stage for the Avengers, like, just, you know, trying to pull all of this together.
Sure.
But I do think the fact that he was the director of Shield, he was, you know, the one that pulled together the Avengers. I think that definitely took away some of his attention from the Skrull situation.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, either way, messed up. Sorry, earlier I meant Gravota. I can't pronounce the name right.
Gravik, I believe.
Gravik? Okay.
Yeah.
Gravik's not Talos when you answered. Okay. Yeah. I statement still stands. I think you need to chop him down, maybe.
Yeah.
Or maybe you defeat him individually. Like, you had to... I don't know if you kill him, because, like, that might start a war. But maybe you do have, like, your one-on-one fight with him, but, like, everyone else you have to, like, this isn't the way, or, you know, whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I definitely think that's how how Talos is going to get, you know, his daughter back on the right side, is that's going to be just like a very much so just a convincing thing. And I think in this episode too, you could just see it in the facial expressions. Like, she kind of saw, like, there's a lot going on, and, you know, this dude's taking things a little far. I'm not sure if I want to be a part of this. Like, yeah.
Sure. Yeah, no. Gaia definitely feels like that middle ground of, and I think you need a character like that is both on that side, but also, you know, like, towards the end. I mean, maybe she kills him, and maybe she defeats him, and then she becomes their, like, leader, their, like, general, and leads this, like, next generation of Skrulls.
And just kind of, like, takes everything in a much better, more positive direction.
There's this theory that Rhodey died in the Civil War and secretly replaced as a Skrull. Yeah, we've talked about that. That's been a theory I've had. I don't think we kill Fury
as well.
Yeah, I don't think Rhodey's dead. I think he's in a pod.
No. Yeah, I think if he is a Skrull, he's at the base. He's at the like, what is it? Basically, like, Chernobyl base, wherever they are. So.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about a lot my pitch for, like, the Armored Wars movie, where it's like, this is a version of Rhodey that's been asleep for 5 or so years, and he has to piece his life together, what's been happening, and trying to get all these like, fix the problems that his fake self created. And I think that's such a fun pitch, I guess, that I would love to see happen. Tactless Rhyme in the house, buddy. How's it going?
How's it going?
I heard Daisy. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Buddy, if Daisy comes back, man, I gotta have you on here. We have to do it, man. I'm hoping. We have 4 more weeks. let's see here. They took out Maria, so possibly the next. Yeah, I mean, do we think Maria is really dead? Because I've heard a lot on Twitter this week that maybe um she's not. Like, do we do the like Tahiti project again? Do we? Was she a scroll? Was she like a like LMD? Like, what are we doing? Or is she just dead?
I think she's just dead, honestly. Like that seems like what's going on. Like just kind of like your emotional motivation at the beginning of it.
I think she needs to, like I would be happy if she came back because again I love the character. I'd love to see more from her. But I think the way you used her, she has to stay dead. I think you
Yeah,
need
like
to
it would
set
take away
down.
that emotional impact
Yeah,
for sure.
like I think on rewatch that scene would be like, oh, okay, it's the fact that and it felt real, right? Like that whole funeral scene again, another one of those scenes where I was just taken back by. Like,
Yeah.
we don't see much of those type of scenes. Like we've never like it's done so well because again we haven't seen much of Maria, but it's
Mm-hmm.
the way it's set up. You care so much for her and her
Right.
connection, and it's such
And
a
you just
real
yeah, and you see just like the I guess the disappointment on Fury,
hmm
and like he feels like he's failed this person. He's failed his friend. So
And I think that mom, just in her little time, was such a
yeah.
complex character because it could have just been, "You bitch, you killed my daughter." But no, it wasn't that. She was upset and angered by Fury,
Yeah.
but she understood as well, and she knew
Mm-hmm.
what life her daughter was in.
Right. It was kind
No
of
one
just like
clipped that scene.
don't
No one
don't.
clipped
She was
that.
like, yeah, don't make the sacrifice in vain,
Yeah. Oh,
basically,
like
and that was
it's
like a
so
nice way
good.
to end it off.
Yeah. No, I am. I thought it was really good. The like those three scenes, that train scene, the funeral scene, and then that diner scene. I was just like, this is great. This is what I've been wanting. I love it a lot. Um, Looking at my notes here, anything that we didn't outright talk about? I guess we could talk about the wife,
Yes,
Coulson's wife at the end.
Fury's right wife.
Lance, yeah, Lance said it in our stream the other day that she was a
Yep, yep,
scroll.
yep.
He was right.
Yes.
How do you think that all came to be? I assume next week we'll get some more flashbacks, kind of giving
Yeah.
us.
I mean, my biggest question is, does Fury know? Because like
mm,
she was a Skrull, and then she changed back into to human form
yeah,
before he saw her. So does Fury know? And how does that affect him if he didn't know? So I
yeah,
think that's I guess the biggest question going forward. I think it's interesting that he has this secret wife that we never knew about, but I think that
mhm,
this show is definitely going to reveal that there's a lot to Nick Fury that we didn't know about.
yeah.
But again, the big question is, does he know that she is a Skrull? I think that'd be very interesting.
I like to think that he does because he seems to have such a deep connection with scrolls. Like he seems to be closer with scrolls than he is with humans. Like there's scenes where he's so vulnerable with these people
Yeah,
and with
yeah,
Talos especially. And I like to think maybe that's because he's almost part of that family, part of that world
mm-hmm.
when he married his wife. And
Yeah,
yeah, I am curious to see. I, I have a feeling they just did that for the audience to show. Oh yeah, she is a scroll and also his wife. And
mm-hmm.
so
But I
yeah,
mean, they could have just kept her as a Skrull at that point. She could have just been a Skrull
maybe.
as he comes in. Like,
Yeah,
that.
why change for
Why?
him
Yeah,
if he
right. Why
knows?
change
Yeah,
back if he already knows? Like, I
maybe.
think in like in the comfort of your own house, you're gonna be who you are, right? So you're just gonna
Sure.
be your Skrull self, unless you're trying to hide that for some reason.
Yeah, I have a hard time believing he wouldn't be able to find out though. Like he's such a
Yeah,
good agent. Like I can't see you're a scroll this whole like I can't see a
but he
scenario
didn't
like
know that
that.
there's millions of them. So
Maybe.
it's interesting. It's very interesting. I think we'll find out next week for sure whether he knows or
Yeah.
not. And if
I'm
he,
excited for more flashbacks. Like I'm
yeah,
very excited to see that era of Cole. Just more of Fury's past because that's so intriguing to me. Like I would watch like a whole like young Fury show or something where it's like leading up to where we meet him or something. Like it's so intriguing to me. Um I'm very excited. Sherry said, I'm kind of worried if any Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. cast comes in the MCU because Kevin Feige, he loves to mess with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans. So kind of hope that doesn't happen. And I don't think he's purposely like screwing with people. I think it's a rocky situation. Um, and I mean, we'll see. Like I know he had some beef with like the TV side of things for a while, and there's been some weird stuff there. But I mean, like Daredevil's coming back and Punisher's coming back. I don't see a real reason why you can't just bring in Daisy as like a not a new character, but a character without exploring much of her background, her history, because I think she can just come in as this agent with powers and work in pretty well. I think it's when you dive into characters like Coulson, where you have like 7 years of like, why is he a robot? Why is all these things with Coulson happening, and who is this Mac character, and why is he like head of Shield, and I think there's a lot there. But I don't know. We'll see. Defunct said Young Fury, catchy name, and I dig the concept. MCU take notes. I mean, that feels like a fun. I don't know if Samuel L. Jackson would do like a 5-season show leading up to that, but like that's kind of what I want is like these long-term MCU shows where season 1, season 2, those type of shows in the MCU. That's what I've been really missing with your Daredevil and your Shield and stuff like that.
Yeah, because everything has been kind of like a limited series. Yeah, an event series.
That's why I'm excited for Loki to come back, our second season.
Yeah, Loki's getting a season 2. I think She-Hulk's getting a second season as well, I believe, maybe?
I heard it wasn't likely.
Okay.
We haven't heard anything official yet, but
okay.
Maybe. I know What If is getting a second season, but that's kind of a separate beast. I heard rumors about Miss Marvel season 2, and then a Hawkeye season 2, but we've heard nothing official.
Right. And I mean, in many ways, Echo's basically Hawkeye season 2.5 or 1.5.
It's a cross between Hawkeye and Daredevil.
Daredevil, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a Daredevil prequel leading up to the new show.
Exactly.
Stern just said, "Oh no, Lance was right. We're never going to hear the end of it." 100%. He even bragged about it in our group chat earlier, and I was like, "Oh boy, oh no." Already, do you have any final thoughts on Secret Invasion? I pretty much covered everything I wanted to cover. Do you have any other final thoughts?
No, just that this episode did get a lot more brutal than I thought it was going to get. And we did get a nice little action scene. We didn't really mention it, but we did get kind of like this like spec opsy action scene with Gravik kind of going into the meat locker and just like, kind of tearing it up a little bit to get the one Skrull guy back, and then they ended up, just killing him because reasons, but yeah. And I mean, I think it's saying something because I thought that was the least interesting part of the episode. I think the fight scene is your least interesting stuff. Then you're doing a great job. Right. Yeah, I mean, it didn't like it wasn't bad by any means, but it didn't like overly stand out. But, but it did get pretty brutal. Like he like pulled the dude up put him on the hook.
Yeah, cut off his hand, his thumb.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a crazy scene. I know Moon Knight's getting a second season. I heard rumor. I haven't heard if it's official.
I don't know if it's official, but I know they're talking about it.
I think Moon Knight, Eternals, and Shang-Chi feels like the three that's like it's happening, but we haven't heard officially yet.
Like, it's like it's in development, but it's not like active development, if that makes sense.
Chosen Vader is back, but no, that's all I have. Love this episode. Can't believe there's only 4 left. Feels like it just came back or it just started. So I am ready to talk about Superman and Lois.
Yes.
Season finale.
This was a big one.
All the fans after the season finale of Superman and Lois.
Standing ovation for that incredible fight scene at the end.
Yeah, spoilers. I want to put that up now. Massive spoilers for this episode. Yes. If you've not seen it, please get out of here. Watch it right now. Like even if you've never seen a single episode, just watch this episode on its own. Might be kind of weird, but just watch it. That was a crazy. So I mean, just kind of off the bat, just like what was like how are you feeling about this episode?
I was like, it started off kind of slow. Like that, you can't get around that. It did start off a little bit slow. It did kind of oddly feel like we were trying to wrap up a lot of the side characters and stuff like that. So we did leave off in very like pretty nice spots for
Mm-hmm.
most characters. The only real, side character that wasn't properly wrapped up is, I messaged you about this is where's General Lane? Is
Poor
is he
Sam.
safe? Is he all right? Like, what happened to him? He got, captured by Lex's goons, and then we never saw him again, and
Yeah,
he's not going to
catfish.
come back next season. So what the
Yeah.
heck? Like, I hope he's okay. I'm pretty sure he'll be okay. I think, but that aside from like the earlier stuff, kind of again trying to like wrap up these characters that aren't going to be coming back, I think they did a pretty decent job of that.
Mm-hmm.
But the real bulk of this episode was kind of like halfway point and onwards. Lex is an absolute menace to society. Bro is just unhinged and crazy, and this is the most like just devious Lex that we've ever had. He's diabolical. Diabolical damage right here. Like, this dude is
He
just
doesn't care. Like, this isn't a
no.
Lex that wants to like save the world. Like that's a big thing for Lex oftentimes. That he wants to make the world a better place. He's about to destroy the world, and
Yeah.
he doesn't care.
No, he's just oh man, dude, this Lex is great. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people say like he doesn't feel like a classic Lex, and I definitely agree with that in many ways. But he's very different. I like this different take on Lex. And he's just also the fact that the picture that you have up in this scene. In the episode, Lex looked taller than Superman. Like, he's actually like more like physically imposing than Superman, and I think that was a very interesting visual as well. And just him just turning Bizarro, and that whole scene of just the death montage and the Kryptonite infused weapons, and he's just yelling at this dude and he's like, "Do you want to die again to come back even stronger?" And he's just like, "Yeah, sure, just kill me, bro." And all of our theories were answered.
Yeah, I mean, we were right with a lot of stuff, man. It felt, man, I had to stop every nerve in my body last night and not text you and be like, "Do you want to stream now?" Because this is so crazy. Like, oh my gosh, it was. No, it was a great episode. Again, it just felt like everything we've been wanting this season. Like, we've been talking about. I guess we can. I don't think there's any way of talking about this episode without jumping into it. Obviously, spoilers again for Superman and Lois. We did Doomsday, y'all. We did it. We
One of the best looking incarnations of Doomsday.
He looks so good.
Yeah.
He looks CW budget.
Yeah.
Like, just seeing the evolution of CW Doomsday is insane. To see that very Power Ranger esque look. Yes, and again, that was fine. Like that was fine for then, right? Obviously, I'm not hating on that look. I think it worked for what the show is going for. But just to see this on screen, like back in season 2, I was like, "There's no way we're doing Doomsday. There's no way they could ever pull it off. Like, they have a bigger budget, they can never." But it looks great. I probably one of my preferred looks for Doomsday.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that they were saving budget this season, and it went to good use here in this finale. Like, if you would to just take this final bit of the episode when Lex confronts Clark at the farm and everything like that, just show somebody that clip to the end of this and say, "Hey, this is from the new Superman movie." They'd be like, "Yeah, sure." Like, that's what it looks like. And
I mean, there's obviously some like shots where I'm like, that doesn't look at, but like for the most part, like, it's a TV show. It looks, like,
and also it's at night too, so they can kind of hide some stuff with it being at night.
Yeah.
I did notice that. I think if you go back to like Death of Superman comics and stuff, I believe that's during the day. I can't, if I'm not mistaken, but it makes the CGI look better when it's at night, because you can kind of like shroud things in shadows a little bit and everything. But there was really nothing to hide here. Like, this, it all looked great. And I think it's very interesting too that we really went full circle with Bizarro, because when we saw him at the beginning of season 2, he was in that that Doomsday hazmat suit, and everybody thought, "Oh, it's Doomsday," and then nope, it's Bizarro, and then Bizarro turns into Doomsday. So I love that.
No, it's such a nice full circle moment. And also with just Lex being here, because we thought that
Yes.
John Henry was Lex in the first season. Like it
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like you really combine the first two seasons into this, making it full circle. Obviously, we're getting a season 4, but like having Doomsday and Lex kind of be the seemingly, I don't know what we're doing with Doomsday next season, if he's like defeated before we get back or whatever. But kind of making Lex and Doomsday really come full circle in what I can assume is the final season. It's just so brilliant. Like I wonder how far in advance they had this all planned, like in season 1, where they're like, all right, we introduce him here and then he's gonna come back here and do the, like I think that's such just fun writing, which I
Yeah.
love.
Yeah, everything had a purpose, and it all came back, whether that was planned from the beginning or not. They
Mm-hmm.
literally just tied everything in together, and put a nice little bow on it,
Yeah.
and I like that a lot, and I'm very excited to see, what the carry on from this is. I saw a lot of talk that the end of this episode is very similar to the Flash season 1 finale, where we kind of
Mm.
end in the middle of a big fight or end in the middle of a big set piece moment. So where do we pick up when we come back in season 4? Do we pick up right there on the freaking moon? Or do we time jump where, Doomsday's been defeated and stuff like that, and you just like kind of see like the aftermath and stuff. But just
Yeah.
that end shot alone, Superman charging at Doomsday on the moon with the Earth in the background. Like, when did you ever think that you'd see that? Yeah, like
That is, yeah,
that's
that's some
insane.
movie stuff. Like that's like comics. Like that's a dream scenario. That
Yeah,
really is. Like it's stuff like scenes like this where I think the budget cut for next season. There was a part of me that was like, yeah, that's unfortunate, because the show was able to do stuff like this.
yeah.
And I'm very, again, curious with Doomsday next season. Is that why we cut the whole cast? Is because they still want to do stuff with Doomsday next season? Or, is that not included?
I
Like,
don't know. Like, I mean, I'm not sure how CGI models and stuff like that work, but I feel like the
yeah,
fact that they've already made Doomsday, like maybe it's a little bit easier to, just plop them back in. Like the CGI model has already been created. Like I
sure.
think maybe that's, again, I don't really know how that works. I don't know how CGI really works behind the scenes, but
I do kind of want to, because, our big theory was Death of Superman. And
mm-hmm.
normally this would be, like, they even kind of teased it in this episode where, like,
Yeah.
Superman's about to die, but then he gets the strength to get back up. And do we think we pick up next season and he's dead? Or do you think they're doing their own twist on the story where he's...
I feel like if they were going to kill him, the best place to kill him would have been in this finale, because it would
Yes.
have been a even bigger cliffhanger than what we got here. I think we're gonna get a twist on the death of Superman. I don't think Clark is actually gonna die. Like I
Mm-hmm.
think it would almost be a disservice to this finale if we pick back up,
Oh,
we
sure.
continue the fight, and then Clark dies. Like, why didn't we just do that at the end of season 3? So I think he's gonna come out on top. He's gonna defeat Doomsday. He's gonna kill him. He's gonna subdue him. Something like he's gonna get past that, and then Lex is gonna be absolutely furious and just try to find new ways to kill Superman all throughout season 4.
Yeah. Like, the only... I think I mostly agree with you. I think we are probably not killing Superman next season, especially with the budget
Mm-hmm.
getting cut and probably not having enough to do, like, your Reign of Superman as many
Yeah,
people want to. But, I could argue too, there's the fact that you don't do it in the finale is because you don't know if it's getting another season. They're like,
that
okay,
is true
we're
too.
doing Death of Superman, but we won't show it this season just in case. Because if this is your final shot of the show, I'm fine with that. That's a sweet... Superman
Okay.
on the moon fighting Doomsday is a great way to end your show. That is
Yeah. So
sick.
okay, I had this thought. I had this idea. I know we're gonna get into Gotham Knights a little bit
We're
later,
all over. It's fine.
but would you rather
Hmm.
have this be it for Superman and Lois, like this is how it ends, and then we get a season 2 of Gotham Knights, or would you have rather had what we had happen is that Superman and Lois is continuing, and then Gotham Knights ends the way it ended?
I still want Superman. See, I think Superman's just it's my show. Like
Yeah,
especially this season, I
yeah,
really,
I get that. I get
like,
that.
with, like, the Flash has always been my comfort show, I think. Um, it's very clear to anyone who's been watching the show. I did not love this season. I did not, and
Mhm.
I feel like there felt like a real passing of the torch from my comfort show from Flash to Superman. Finally, I'm about to lose that too, but probably. No, I want Superman. I think around, even though it seems to be a very different show next season.
Yeah. I mean, I think if I were, I guess, an executive and I was presented this finale and the Gotham Knights finale, I think they chose right. As sad as I am that Gotham Knights did not get a season 2, they definitely chose right. Like this is the cliffhanger you want to see resolved.
Yeah, this is just like a Superman's fans like wet dream. Like this is insane. They're fighting on the moon.
Like it was so comic booky though. Like it all felt so comic booky.
Yeah.
Like just the transformation into Doomsday, and then the fight starting in Smallville and then taking, flight over to Metropolis, and then thinking that Doomsday's dead, and then Clark's like, don't worry, citizens, everything's okay. And then the fight brings you to the gosh darn moon. Like, come on. Like, how can you not love that?
Yeah, no.
This is the best fight scene in the entire show. This might be the best scene of the entire, like, I know I love like character moments and stuff like that, but this is the best Superman scene of the entire show.
I think you can argue this is one of the coolest fight scenes like on CW. Like, there's a lot, but like, I don't know. Like, again, this feels like a movie. Like, it feels like you're in a cinema watching this thing. Like, if you tighten up a couple of things, you can put this in a movie just fine.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's so fun. I don't want to do this. I don't like comparing, but like, we just saw the Flash movie. I mean, like, I know it's very different. I know it's very different, but seeing like what you can do when you have creators that aren't overstressed and overbooked, and they can have that, they have their time to make this look good. And they love, like, I always have felt that these creators, these like CW creators and writers, they love what they're doing. They have such a passion for these shows, and they take the little bit they have and they run with it so far. And this is what it can do. Like, we didn't have a whole lot of fight scenes this season. Like, I've said this with Stargirl. Stargirl was the prime example of this. They didn't have fight scenes every episode, but when they had them, they gave us some of the coolest superhero fights ever.
Yeah, like, and I think it's worth it. It's worth the trade-off. 100%.
I would take that any day. I can take not having a fight scene for 5 episodes if you gave us stuff like this.
Yeah,
every day. Like Flash, I would have been fine with that. With like with the Flash. Like, I know Flash is a very different character in that regard, but like, if you every 3 episodes you just had a fight scene instead of every episode, okay, here's your fight scene. At the, man, I was so just like, I felt so bad for Gotham Knights last night because I loved that episode, and we will talk about it. But like, it was Doomsday. I can't focus on Gotham Knights.
This outshined it. Well, it's interesting too, is because I thought that announcing the casting for Superman Legacy on the same night that the Superman and Lois finale came out was like, oh, that's a weird choice, right? It felt very reminiscent of announcing Flash movie casting right when Flash TV show comes out. But in many ways, I feel like the Superman and Lois finale almost like outshined the movie news. So it's kind of like a Uno reverse in that way.
It kind of felt like a love letter in a way. Like, it's like, okay, this is your new future of Superman, but now we have current Superman, and he's
right. It's
like
this is what we got to hold us over, and I
was so overjoyed. Like, I got the future of Superman and current Superman, and I just had a grin on my face. And then I'm thinking of this like new animated show next week, which is getting praising reviews. It's
a great time to be a Superman fan.
It's
like,
so good.
I will say this, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I think as much as I love all of these other DC characters, I think I'm always going to come back to Superman. Like, it's kind of a cop-out answer, but I think I'll always come back to Superman as like the pinnacle superhero. Like, he's one of my favorites. He
always,
depending on which way the wind's blowing that day, like I'll say Superman's my favorite character just because I love this dude. Like, he's great.
Yeah, no, I love how we talked about the end first, but I almost think you have to. Like, you almost have to start with that and then work your way.
Yeah, work our way back. We gotta get all the big stuff out of the way first, and big stuff because Doomsday is massive.
He is massive. He's very large. I'm gonna read some of these chats. Everyone
Yeah.
just seems to be praising it. And I love that. Um, let's see. Summer Lois is insane. Yes,
Yeah.
I love it. The finale was great. I agree. I saw some people not love the finale up until the final minutes, but I loved the whole thing. I think I didn't really have many issues.
Yeah. I mean, it felt like a love letter to the show itself.
Yeah, it did. I again, it did feel like it's weird because in some ways it felt like they tried to wrap up certain characters, and sometimes it's like, okay, we're setting up their future.
Yeah.
I would have liked for a couple of characters to get more of a like cemented ending, just in case
Yes.
it was it.
Yeah. I definitely see where you're coming from there, and it's going to be interesting to see how they deal with that, especially with a lot of these side characters not being present.
To me, it felt like the characters that are coming back got a conclusion, and the characters that aren't didn't.
Yeah, it was
and that
really
was unfortunate.
Weird. Yeah, so they definitely didn't know what was going on with season 4. Like I think they knew that they wanted to do a season 4, but I don't think they knew what that would entail. Like they didn't know who was coming back, who wasn't coming back at that point, because I don't think that they would have planned this ending and saying, oh, we're gonna have a lower budget and less episodes and less characters next season. Like I think they planned like, oh, we're gonna come back with another 13 to 15 episode season. Everybody's gonna come back as it has been, but just with all the shakeups, I still think the writer's strike also has a part to play in all of this as well. I'm just kind of holding out hope that season 4 isn't the final season, because again, we still have room before Legacy comes out. Like we could have a 5th season. Like imagine we have season 4. It's kind of this scaled back season, slightly lower budget and everything, just kind of so we can have Lex be that big bad. But if we can get through that, if the show is still popular, I would love for them to renew it for a 5th season, whether that still be 10 episodes or even they lower it to like 8. But they give them that budget back. They bring back that extended cast and everything, and fully wrap up everybody's story. I love this shot as well, with Superman just like slowly rising
that looks
up.
really
like,
cool.
That was so good. Good.
No. I also think I could see this bringing in a lot of people. Like Doomsday is a big name to throw around, and those clips are all over Twitter, and I'm seeing so many people be like, "Yo, they did like this is like it's so much."
I think people are gonna
publicity.
People are going to binge the heck out of this when it drops on Max.
I think so. I hope. I don't know. Maybe Max might like regret not picking it up or something. I don't know. Like I still want to see. I wish. There's still a part of me that's disappointed it's not going to Max, because I think that could be. I think that'd be a good choice for them. I think that would do well over there.
I literally just noticed, Bro's. I guess if we're flipping it, his right arm is like
a lot bigger
as big
than
as his left arm. Yeah.
Well, maybe he like chopped his arm off and it grew off like wonky or something, or like maybe this arm hasn't fully grown back yet, right?
Yeah,
so maybe it's going very like Deadpool, like where it slowly grows back.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Indeed. Honestly, I'm okay with the side characters / side stories because Superman Lois does it better than the Flash. I have always said I think those side characters are very important to the show currently, right? I think it does a great job at showing the world Superman is saving, showing the side of humanity that he is. His friends and his family are so important, and it's kind of just like represents who he is. And there's a couple things this week where I did roll my eyes a little bit. There's a couple of teen drama stuff. I was like, okay. Like I think the Kyle and Chrissy stuff was they showed she was pregnant. I did roll my eyes. I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah, that being kind of like placed at the beginning of the episode, and then Kyle like proposing to her at the ceremony, or at the meteor ceremony, and just that was kind of like, it felt weird. It felt somewhat out of place. Like obviously you're happy for these characters and stuff like that, and especially since we're not going to really see them, it kind of leaves them in a nice spot. So it's like, okay, we kind of know where they're going. Like we don't have to worry about them.
it does kind of pull things, I guess, a little full circle with like the first episode being like Lois might be pregnant.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
kind of now Chrissy, like I would not have bet that she would have been the character to get pregnant this season.
I didn't see this whole side
No.
romance coming at all. That was very random.
Yeah, it's very like it reminds me of Lana and Lena and James over from Supergirl.
Oh
And
yeah, that was also very random.
like I don't hate it. It just
Yeah, it's just
why?
like, okay, cool, I guess.
Right.
I will say the one that I definitely saw coming a lot more was the John Henry and Lana.
Mm. I mean, they got a lot less of them.
Yeah, a lot less of them.
I like them more.
Yeah, and also I guess John Henry's left on a very open note too, because Sam is like, hey, we're gonna foot the bill for this, crazy gadget thingy in Metropolis. You down? So I don't know.
It sets them up exactly what I wanted for next season. Like I wanted those four, and then the Irons, and then Lex.
Right, and it gives them a reason to go to Metropolis, just like I'm sure the Kent family is going to go to Metropolis. Like
it's perfect segue, and now it's going to feel very unfortunate, I think, because I mean, I guess they still could, and then just not be there, I guess.
Yeah,
but
I mean, it's going to feel very weird too if it would be better if they almost stayed in Smallville, and then main stuff is taking place in Metropolis, so you don't have as much crossover. But it'd be really weird if hey, the Irons are down the street in Metropolis, we're living in Metropolis now, why don't we see them all the time?
Yeah, I could see a world where John protects Smallville while Lois and Clark need to move to this other city or whatever.
Exactly. So I mean, maybe they could change it up. Like maybe they could, we could start this season and say, oh, John Henry decided to stay in Smallville, staying with Lana, that type of thing.
That's true. Actually, that's a fair point. Honestly, that may have been the route they went with anyway, because it seemed like they were really hitting hard with them. Yeah, but I mean, just kind of talk. I know a lot of people didn't like the side stuff this week. I liked it for the most. I think outside of the little cringy stuff with Kyle, I liked it. I would say there was a lot of sex in this episode.
Yeah, it was very weird. It was like, okay, this is the romance episode, obviously.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's 2 full-on sex scenes, and then we almost get it with Sam and his girlfriends, or his fake Lex's employee.
Yeah, and then she just is like, all right, yeah, no, you're getting captured. Bye. Still, please tell me Sam Lane is okay.
Yeah,
Lex didn't kill this man, right? Please. Please tell me that
he's
didn't
very
happen.
important. I don't think we're killing Sam. I don't think that's what we're doing.
That would be awful.
Off screen?
I'd be off screen killing him and then he never comes back. Yeah.
I'm fine if it's on screen. I would be sad, but it would be a good death.
Yeah. It's almost making me wish he just sacrificed himself in the tornado last week, if this is where they're going.
Give Jordan that big moment of I couldn't get there in time or something,
Oh man.
Which I didn't get that from Jordan either. I was kind of hoping Jordan would have his final moment, I guess, to almost be a hero and be a change man. I guess he had that scene with Sarah where it's hey, I'm sorry, whatever. But it never felt like he got a full.
I don't know. That seemed too little, too late. That seemed like something that he should have done 6 episodes ago.
Mm-hmm.
But it's nice that they're leaving off on somewhat good terms. But it feels very much like we went in a circle. I thought they were on good terms at the beginning. I thought they were on good terms at the beginning of the season, and then it just devolved into, again, just that bickering back and forth, and then it just took Clark saying, "Hey, stop being mean to Sarah. She's supposed to be your friend." He's old enough to know, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't just be mean. But okay, I'm gonna let it slide.
Yeah, no, it's very unfortunate because I've said all season, okay, it's obviously leading to a larger story. If that's evil Jordan, or if that's him coming across this fundamental arc for him that changes him in the long run. I think the writers are they're very smart, but there's some times where they'll do a thing. It's why'd you do that?
I would say that's honestly my biggest storyline criticism for the entire season.
I 100% agree.
Thought that they were going in a much better direction. I thought that it would be somewhat of Jordan's off using his powers and stuff like that, and Sarah's got to kind of learn how to keep that secret and stuff like that, but they're
Mhm.
both still like, on a friendly basis. And again, it goes back to, the idea that I thought that they were going to do kind of like the kids team up. Like I thought it was
Yeah.
going to be John, Jordan, Sarah, and Nat all like,
Mhm.
taking on smaller threats. But we
That
never
could have
really
been
got to
cool.
see that. And unfortunately, I don't think we'll ever get to see that.
Yeah, not on the same scale, at least, I
Yeah.
don't think. Like, maybe we
Yeah.
could see some stuff of that with Jordan and Jonathan next season, because we're going to
Yeah.
need a lot more of them next season.
The
Um,
the closest we got to that was them stealing John's truck back.
yeah.
And that was it.
I think it could have been cool to have this, like, HR Wally type storyline with maybe either Jordan and Sarah or Jordan and maybe Natalie or something, where they, like, Clark doesn't want Jordan to be a superhero, maybe, and then he's like, all right, I need someone else to teach me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess they kind of did that with Sam a couple seasons ago, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I've never been this behind on chat. I've been slacking tonight, but it's good. I like having a little chat to catch up on. Lex telling Bizarro he needs more was that whole killing sequence was really funny. Like, it was such a terrifying scene as well.
Yeah.
Just like a bazooka and a flamethrower and like arrows and
Yeah, no, it was ridiculous, but it was great.
Defunct, the series was dark in the back half of the finale. I dug it. Yeah, it was very darkly lit and also pretty dark.
Yes.
Like there's the moments there where you think he's a dead man, but he's not. Now that's what I call an insane design. Yeah, no, it looks great. I love it.
Yeah, and the fact that it also kept the like backwards Superman crest as well. I love that. Like you don't normally get that with Doomsday.
Doomsday Bizarro, he was Doomsday after all, was almost as impressive as John Henry with his shirt off in a different way, of course. Yeah, he doesn't get much shirtless scenes. I feel like this show does a lot less of. I think CW as a whole has moved away from the like shirtless actor critique, like early Arrow, early Riverdale, even early Flash did it a lot. I will say, and this is gonna be a very weird statement, right? Like I don't like talking about like sex and stuff because I've always feel very uncomfortable. That's kind of how I was raised. But like the scene between Clark and Lois is like, hey, I want to try again. I want to like I almost cried between
I mean, it was a beautiful scene. Like it just kind of like showed that progression from throughout the whole season, and I think it was nice.
Yeah, I've never almost cried during a sex scene before, and it like there's a beautiful moment where they're like undressing and stuff, and it's just like a personal moment between two characters, and it's like this is gorgeous. Like and it is like a nice kind of stack, I guess, ending to this Lois cancer story as well, because like you see that full journey of her not being able to and her accepting it to now being like, hey, I'm in a place where I want to try this again, and I loved it. Chosen Vader said, I still hopes for Bizarro to return as a good guy. Do you think we see that? Do you think there's a world where Clark can fix him?
I don't know. I think Bizarro is way too far gone at this point. I don't think that there's really any going back from there. But, how do you kill something that once it dies, it comes back and it's stronger? And also he's Kryptonian, so you can't just like chuck him into the sun.
Yeah, I mean, normally it's like a kryptonite thing, right? Because like normally he kills Doomsday from killing himself.
Yeah.
So I do wonder if maybe that's a word. Like, how do you not do that? Is you don't do Death Superman, you have to save him instead. Maybe could be a fun twist. I just wonder.
Well, it's interesting, right? Because the X Kryptonite is what Lex was using to kill him, because he is Bizarro and he's from the Bizarro world and it's backwards and stuff.
Yeah.
So, and the Kryptonite was what was powering him up, but it would be interesting if the Kryptonite kind of removes this Doomsday form and kind of brings him back down to, normal Bizarro, or as normal as Bizarro can be.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't. I'm very nervous how we start season 4, because I could see a world where we time jump and we don't see how it ends. I think, especially with the budget, can they afford to finish the fight?
Finish the fight scene. Oh,
yeah.
There would definitely be quite the controversy, I think, if we don't get to see the rest of this fight scene. I think if they do it well, though, I won't mind. If they do it in a similar way to the like Flash season 1 into season 2, where we got like a little bit of a flashback in like throughout the beginning of that first episode, kind of like filling in the gaps. I think that would be nice. I think that that's most likely the route that we're going to go, especially since there's going to be such a big, gap in real time between the end of season 3 and the beginning of season 4.
Sure.
So, I think in many ways that might be the best route to take, but I think a lot of people are going to want to just pick up right where we left off and just continue with the charge.
I could see a like Lee and Yu disappointment for many, where people wanted a better resolution to that storyline.
Right.
And if we just like, all right, it's done now, woohoo. Especially because I imagine some people are expecting Death of Superman, and could it be like a Flashpoint thing for people where it's like, oh, we didn't really do Death of Superman, we just kind of teased it or brushed over it, whatever.
I can imagine season 4 just starts and they're just continuing to charge, and like Clark just like flies through Bizarro and he's just dead, and like that's it.
I will say, like, if he beats Doomsday, he might be like canon one of the stronger Superman we've ever seen. Like,
if he survives, I think he's gonna be canon the strongest Superman like ever.
Yeah, because I
can't remember if we had this debate or not, but like I think at this point, like Henry Cavill's kind of like the most powerful Superman that we've seen. Yeah. But I mean, again, if he doesn't die to Doomsday, then the Superman and Lois Earth Superman is strongest Superman in the entire multiverse.
Yeah. Which is fitting because he's an older Superman. Like he's been through this before. Like early season 1, like Clark season 1, Superman season 1, like there was a lot of where he was doing stuff with like Kryptonite. People were so mad about it. And I was like, well, he's more experienced than like a Henry Cavill Superman. Like Tyler could probably do more than what Henry can do at this point. And that's not a bad thing.
Further in his Superman career.
We're like probably 20, 30 years into him being Superman.
Yeah. But I think what would be funny though too is the fact that if we had the Superman from like his version of Superman from like Supergirl facing this version of Doomsday, bro would get like absolutely decimated.
Defunct subverting expectations with Bizarro instead of Doomsday, then turning him into Doomsday was very clever. I agree. We were talking about that a little bit, but very nice. Very, very nice. Liked it a lot. I think season 4 will start with Lois explaining everything that happened in season 3. Then we'll cut black. Then we go the fight with Superman Doomsday. I would like a recap from Lois. That could be kind of fun.
Yeah.
I agree that if they were doing Death of Superman, they should have killed him at the end of the episode. I hope they think it's a twist on. Again, I think it's just their way of, like, I could still see a world where Superman dies next season, and they just wanted to not be the cliffhanger just in case. And I'm 100% okay with that. Like, I think I think doing Death of Superman at the end of the season would have been very dumb. I would have hated that. like just like to the fans, I think that would be very disrespectful to leave that up to chance.
Yeah, I'm much more happy that we ended off the way that we did rather than do Death of Superman. And also, I think then people would draw a lot of DCEU comparisons, and then you'd have that whole argument as well. So I think that this is a nice way to kind of avoid that, allow the show to do its own thing, and also just kind of show the raw power of this version of Superman.
Mm-hmm. I did really want it. Look, I know BVS did it, but I kind of wanted to do it again, just because nothing against BVS, because I know a lot of people love that movie. But one of my issues with them doing Death of Superman is I didn't care. I didn't care about that.
It felt so quick.
Doing Death of Superman movie 2 is ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
But we've spent now what is probably 35 or so episodes with this version of the character. Not if you mention, our experience with the Arrowverse version. Like he's been Superman for what, 9 years now,
and this is the version of Superman that we've spent the most time with out of, I think, all media except like the animated series Superman
and Smallville, of course. But
yeah.
No, I wanted to see that, and I wanted to see, like, this sounds terrible, but I wanted to see like the brokenheartedness of the family. Like I think Lois's scene would have been devastating.
The aftermath of that would have been crazy. Like this whole season, you know, obviously the fear of Lois, you know, not making it through was at the forefront, and nobody ever thought that, oh, Clark is also, you know, vulnerable. And then to have him just, you know, gone like that would be insane.
There's like some scary stuff that I think would happen next season if like Clark dies and Lois is left alone without Superman with a mania. Like,
and
that's
Lex.
Like that's actually terrifying. Like I literally get scared thinking about that. Like he has control.
Then Doomsday is also still on the loose at that point too. So what is Jordan gonna fight him? Nah.
Oh, Jordan get his neck slapped or like neck snapped.
Yeah, so that's
and I think they do such a good job of making this guy look scary. Like I was thinking about that during the episode. I'm like, Jordan, don't you dare! You will die.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I did think it was interesting too that John Henry didn't even like.
John
think
Henry,
about suiting up. Like, I mean, he could have maybe helped a little bit.
I think he's dead. Like, I don't think like.
Yeah, probably not. Probably doesn't stand too much of a chance.
I mean, if Superman was getting like, I don't know, like, story-wise, I definitely understand.
Oh, hold on. I just thought of something crazy. What if we pick up season 4, and Tal-Rho appears out of nowhere, comes back from the Bizarro world, and helps Clark defeat Doomsday? I think that might be the way out of it.
Well, that'd be a fun way to do your like reign of Superman kind of. If you have Superman, Eradicator, Superboy, and Steel as your kind of all of that, and that would actually be a fun team.
And then you have like the big team up there, and kind of just skip the death of Superman and just have your reign of Superman right at the beginning.
Sure. I'm so behind on chat. I never get behind on chat. I mean, we're just having such a fun time talking. It's also a cheeky AF ending, not knowing if they were renewed. 100%. But like I talked about this being my preferred way if you did Doomsday. Like I literally said at one point, like Doomsday shows up and Clark's like, you know, kind of run towards it and ends it like a very like Incredibles type ending where like the villain shows up at the end.Maybe they fight him, but if we don't, it ends in a fun way. But you know, they did a lot of it for it to have an ending like that. Taz, are you pissing me off? I don't know what that's in reference to.
I think it was when I said something about Gotham Knights.
Gotham Knights, okay.
Yeah.
Taz, guess what? Flash season 10 confirmed with Cecile as the main character.
No, say it ain't so.
Chosen Vader hot take: the fight between Superman Doomsday is in my top 10 DC TV. I agree.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. I don't know where I'd fill in my gap. Like I'd go Flash versus Thawne, like that first like soccer field fight, the like football fight. That's in mine. Earth X, that whole church fight is peak, and along with Earth X in that final fight where they're all the final fight against the like Nazis and stuff. That's in my top 5 as well. And then maybe I didn't even talk about Stargirl. Has to be one of the Stargirl fights as well because they got so many good ones. Best CG fight. I have to agree. 100% the best CG fight. Yes, Stargirl was great at their fight scenes. I miss I miss all that stuff. As was Arrow, 100%. I miss those type of fights. I think as cool fight like Flash and Superman had some really really cool fights throughout the years, but there was something really special about like Stargirl and Arrow having those type of fights. Yeah,
I mean Arrow's just so good on those just like gritty, grounded fight scenes and everything.
Debunked said just because he knocked her up doesn't mean he needs to publicly propose. LOL seemed an old-fashioned writing choice. That was like I don't know, such a weird time to do it. Like he interrupted this whole event, the citywide event.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of also brought back what I kind of understand why they did it, because it brought back what Lana said too, is that the fact that like the reason why her and Kyle got married originally too is kind of for the same reason. So like it's almost showing like he's maybe making the same mistake twice.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe that's just looking way too far into it.
Yeah, I honestly I think this Chrissy and Kyle stuff is a bit too CW for me. Like I think it's the most CW the show has ever got.
I also don't think it's gonna matter next season. To be honest, I don't think it's gonna.
Chrissy
it's not
is
gonna
like
matter
the first
at all.
to go, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
but I mean, Kyle's coming back. He's at least in what 2 or 3. So
yeah. So I mean, we'll probably get mentions of it and stuff like that, but I don't think it'll be a big thing, especially if we do like a time jump and stuff. This could all already be done, you know.
Mm-hmm. Defunct, or if Sam isn't okay, that he got more than just kisses before he died. Okay. I mean, yeah, I guess.
He got a kiss with death. How about that?
Yeah, but Jordan has been emotionally immature all along, really, not anxiety stuff, just immature. I somewhat agree. But I feel like this season's been the worst. Like he always seemed to have a balance before. Like
it's weird. He seemed to regress this season, oddly.
100%. Like season 1, he was that very like anxious child, but he had an arc and he grew from it. In season 2, it felt like he was heading towards that arc of being Superboy and being that character. And it feels like, yeah, we took a step back. Where it's like, oh, he's becoming Superboy. Oh wait, no, now he's grounded, and that's the story he's been stuck with, I guess. So I don't know. I don't know if you guys already talked about this, but do you think they'll do Death of Superman storyline in season 4 and have Clark wear the black suit again? I would love if he wore the black suit. That'd be really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about this a whole bunch already. Maybe. I'm going to go out on a limb and say no, but I would like if they did. I would still like a version of that story.
Yeah, and if he wears the black suit, let him grow out the beard and the mullet.
Season 4 starts on low budget. we return exactly where we left off, but Doomsday Bizarro is represented by a badly drawn stick figure. I like it.
Yeah. I don't think that'll happen, but that's funny.
I mean, I honestly hope they save the budget again this season. Like, I hope most of the first half is very just kind of character-driven stuff. Like, it's very Clark, Lex. Like, you know, again, Lex isn't a character that needs special effects for, like, the majority of it. And then maybe we save those final, 5 episodes or 4 episodes and really focus in on the cool CGI type stuff. Because I want a, like, Lexo suit.
Yes, that's exactly what I was about to say. I was like, if we got big Doomsday fight at the end of season 3, I want our big fight for season 4 to be Superman versus Lex in the Lexo suit.
100%. I just want to see that man in a giant like suit.
I mean, like, I don't know. This is a version of Lex that almost doesn't need the suit. Just like give him Kryptonite powers.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Actually, that'd be interesting.
Maybe. Defunct said good points, and I honestly prefer that it ended where it did. Yeah, no, I think just the fact that we didn't know. I like that we didn't see him get murdered or something. If they did do Death of Superman next season, Superman would probably be dead for like an episode. Yeah. Maybe. I think it depends, because I think you could do a fun thing with Cyborg Superman if you wanted to, where it's like you can have Tyler play the other Superman, but not our Superman.
Yeah.
But on the other side of that, with only 5 characters, you kind of need Clark. I guess you kind of need your lead there.
Yeah, it would be a little bit weird. I think if we had the full extended cast, it would work a lot better.
I was thinking in our Party Nation stream the other day, I was thinking, okay, you only have 5 characters, right? But could you double characters with double actors? Like, what if you did like a Jordan clone, and that's like a character you have? So it's 1 actor but 2 characters, or again, your Cyborg Superman, and it's just Clark playing both characters, and that fills up your character list, I guess.
Or like you bring back, isn't the Bizarro Jonathan still locked up somewhere technically too?
Maybe. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, he's still locked up in the DOD, possibly.
Mhm.
So, he could come back too.
All right. So with all that being said, we talked a long time about this episode.
Yes,
Is there
yes.
anything I didn't mention that you want to bring up and talk about?
I don't think so. I mean, the only thing I guess I was somewhat shocked about is that there wasn't really any more Bruno Mannheim. Like we're like
Sure.
completely done with that. Like the only thing is, fallout from it. But
Yeah.
Bruno's gone.
Yeah, I mean, of course, yeah, this is the final episode, so I guess kind of much of my thoughts on the season as a whole. I thought it was really good. I love the season a lot. It was my second favorite season. I would go season 1, season 3, then season 2 for me.
Yep, I agree with that.
And again, I don't think there's ever been a bad episode of the show. I really don't. Like,
No.
even season 2, like it's still good. It's just nitpicks and stuff, right? And I guess my big thing for this season is I do wish that there was. I've talked about the last 3 weeks now, but like, I wish there was that better transition to Lex to Bruno, because it feels like, all right, it's over now. All right, now Lex stuff for season 4.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a jarring transition, but I feel like if you look at these 2 episodes as a epilogue to the season, I think then it works a lot better. Kind of like just bridging. Like if you just pretend that, season 3 ended with episode 11. Just pretend that it ended with episode 11 and then we got these 2 bonus episodes that lead us into season 4.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's fair. I don't know. I like a nice little transition. Obviously, I've had nitpicks this season. Like, Jordan was the character this season I wasn't really vibing with. I could argue a couple things with Kyle and Lana I wasn't the biggest fan of, even if I ultimately liked them. The
lack of John Henry Irons.
I was about to say, yeah, like, again, like we talked about this so many times, like there is clearly stuff missing. Like, this could have been, like, he was not a series regular this season. Neither was Nat. Was done so dirty this season.
Yeah, she had like nothing to do outside of.
She was boy crazy.
Yeah, she was just like, oh, Mateo, that's it.
It's such a disservice. Like, I know a lot of people hated Lois this season, and they said it was like only giving the female character a cancer storyline is such like a disservice. I think Nat was a disservice. Like, season 2, she was a very strong, independent character that was so focused on finding who she was and who she is as a person and in this new world. She was really good. And this season, she's just like, I like boys and boys cute, and like it's such
there were like small parts where I thought that they were doing a good job with, like, kind of her trying to, come into, feeling like she belongs on this earth with kind of like accepting Sam as like her grandfather.
That stuff I
because
really love.
Because he was her grandfather on her main earth and stuff like that. I liked that.
That stuff was good.
And I wish we would have seen more of her, trying to be a hero in her own right. Again, that kind of like tying back to our whole like Scooby Gang. Like, I wish that they got to like solve some more mysteries together. But
yeah, I mean, I think everything after that prom episode, because I think that prom episode for her was really good. Like she connected with Sam, and she had her whole thing was like, I've never had a boyfriend because I couldn't. Like, our world was under attack, and I didn't have time for dates, and my dad wouldn't let me. Like, I think all that stuff was really good, and I think after that, and her like trying to, I think that's cool. Like, there's a storyline there that's really cool of her being in the middle of both Sam and Mateo, I guess. Like, there's, in theory, that could work really well, but I don't know. She just didn't get nothing, and I don't know if we just needed more episodes this season. I'm wondering if maybe if you had a full 15, if maybe you could have done more with some of these characters, flesh them out a little bit more, or maybe that's too much, because like, even with your 13, or I guess not even 13, you're what, 11? There's a Mannheim where it's like, you kind of don't need all this. Like you could cut the storyline down. Still.
Yeah, I mean, thinking about it, the Bruno Mannheim storyline could have been condensed into like 8 episodes.
5 or 8.
5 to 8, yeah. And then we could have had more Lex in the back half, but
yeah, he definitely feels like a villain that you would kill off in the first half, and then the big bad comes in.
Yeah, he definitely
very much what he
like
did in Arrow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He seemed like a mid boss, basically.
Yeah. And I liked him more here than what he had on Arrow. Like, I think he did a great job.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I do like
much better character.
Yeah, and I liked how he had that screen time to really flesh out who he was. I don't know. Again, I wish he had more to do. I wanted him to go full bad, I guess. Like they're never kind of like sits on that line.
More intergang stuff too. Like that kind of was very much so dropped. Like with them having like all the kryptonite weapons and stuff. Like that was kind of a big thing, and then that didn't really go any further.
Fair. Yeah, I mean, I felt like I waited the whole season just for him to break bad almost. Like, I was like, all right, we're getting there. Oh, he's still there.
He never really was like a full-on villain. Like, he was very much so like a sympathetic antagonist.
Like, I'm thinking back, and like, he didn't really do anything that bad.
Yeah, I mean,
guess besides...
He's experimenting on people, but, you know...
Yeah, but some of it, they wanted him to, right? Like even Henry, he wanted him to... Like, he saved his life.
Yeah. I guess I thought he was supposed to come back in the finale, but he didn't. He didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the worst thing he did was what he did to John, right? Like he hurt he hurt the scientist lady or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, and also he's put out hits on people. He had this Earth's John Henry killed, so I think he definitely did a lot more evil deeds in his past, and they just didn't do a great job of conveying that. They made you like they turned Pia into more of a villain than Bruno. Like she definitely they kind of like played up her villainous deeds a lot more than Bruno even.
Sure. But with that being said, we're heading towards the 3-hour mark already. Again, are you good with Superman Lois?
Yeah.
Last time in a while.
I think that's about all we can say on this, but it was fun. It was a fun time.
I love the season. Again, it very bittersweet to say goodbye for it for a little while, but I'm glad to be seeing it a little bit more next season. All right, getting into our final topic of the night.
Yes.
We have our Gotham Knights.
Yeah.
Series finale of Gotham Knights. How are we feeling? I mean, Gotham Knights was obviously your show. This was, you were the, I guess, Gotham Knights YouTuber around. So how are you feeling?
I'm feeling all the feelings. Like I've got very mixed feelings about that. Like obviously very sad that the show is not continuing, but very excited that we got honestly such a tight-knit like one season show. Like I know that was kind of the direction a lot of people thought that the show was going to take, is like it's going to be like a one and done season. And in a lot of ways it was. Like we wrapped up the whole Court of Owls mystery. Like we defeated the court at the end. The Gotham Knights are a team. They're a vigilante team together. They kind of, they did what they intended to do. They cleared their names. They became the city's new vigilantes. They got rid of this shady organization and stuff like that. So I think in many ways it's a tight-knit one season thing. But on the other hand, we got a couple of cliffhangers. We have some characters with some arcs that are not fully resolved. We finally had Harvey turn into Two-Face, and we only got to see Two-Face for a few minutes, and what we got of him was incredible, and I wish that we had that we would get to see more. And we have this big setup here at the end with what I'm assuming would have been the League of Assassins. We had this big reveal that Turner's parents were part of this assassin group, and that's why they were killed and everything like that, and Bruce kind of saved him from this awful life of crime. And there's this big dude that's, heading this whole organization, going by the name, Henry Ducant, something like that. And that was the name that Liam Neeson's Ra's al Ghul character used as an alias in Batman Begins. So that kind of made me think, oh, were we doing League of Assassins? And that's kind of where we left off too, is the Knights think that Turner's dead and everything, and they're kind of like trying to carry on his legacy. And I thought that was really nice too. It kind of brought everything into full circle, with kind of Duella being the one to, push the team to stick together and be like, hey, this is how we honor Turner's memory. And like, I know I wasn't a big fan of the Gotham Knights at the beginning, but, I think we really need to like stick together and kind of, be the heroes that the city needs. And I thought that was really nice. But it seemed like season 2 was leaving us at a point where Turner was going to be training with probably the League of Assassins. Two-Face was going to be out there doing his Two-Face things. And, we would have had just the Gotham Knights stopping crime and, I guess, getting hints that Turner was not dead. So, we left off in a very, very great spot for a season 2, and I'm just very sad that we won't see it.
Yeah, no, I'm honestly really surprised how sad I am. That it's not getting a second season. Like, these last 6 or so have been so upset, have been so great, and have just exceeded everyone's expectations on what the show was going to be. And I think, it kind of just said everything, like, it kind of did everything. Like, there was the story itself wasn't too shocking, because it kind of ultimately ended all the way I kind of thought it would, like, them defeating the Court of Owls and them becoming a team, like, all joining together, become a team again, and, like, clearing their names, and, like, I expect all that. But again, the stuff with, like, just, like, Turner faking his death and maybe joining the Late League,
yeah,
that is so hype. Like, I want to see, like, that feels like I feel like, because I've complained about Turner this season, I think he's been easily the worst character, but that could have been
puts
exactly
him in such a great direction.
Yeah. And maybe it was done on purpose. Like, maybe he's supposedly to be this kind of boring, humdrum type character, and then next season make him be, like, the most badass assassin character.
It's very interesting, too, is one of the reasons I loved this show so much was because it felt very similar to Gotham, and I loved that show. It had a lot of very similar elements. And thinking about it, Turner actually reminds me a lot of very early Bruce Wayne on that show.
Okay, yeah, sure.
And then, when he trained, with the League a little bit as well. And then that kind of like transitioned him into more so like the Bruce Wayne that we're used to. And the fact too that Henry said, "Oh, Bruce trained with us, your parents trained with us, now it's time for you to train with us." And I was
that was really cool.
Dude, this is the League of Assassins, man. Like, Henry Ducard is a character in the comics.
Yes.
Like, he is his own character, so maybe that's who he is. Maybe this is the show kind of doing their thing. Like, we can't use the League of Assassins, so we're just making this assassin group with this character that has been tied to Ra's al Ghul or Ra's al Ghul in the past. So that's kind of their workaround for it. But, I think that they could have also just gone the route of saying, hey, yeah, this is same thing like Batman Begins. This is just a fake name. He's actually Ra's al Ghul. There's all this League of Assassins stuff. And then maybe you bring in the Lazarus Pit. And then maybe you bring in this idea of, oh, can we revive Bruce? All this type of stuff. So I think it's very interesting. They left it off in a very, very, very interesting spot. And I'm just sad that we're not going to see a full resolution to it. But I'm very satisfied by the finale that we got. I think my wish came true as far as this was the best episode of the season. Hands down, best episode of the season by far. So
I so want to see the arc for Turner, because I think it's such an it's such an interesting way to, because obviously Batman has been through a very similar thing in different comics, and obviously what we saw from Arrow, and this like thing of like him joining the League and him having to have this line in the middle where he takes a lot of those elements but also his own morals, and kind of takes both and becomes that character. But Turner has been such a morally great character thus far. Like, he wants to honor what his father is, but also he's fine with maybe making some crimes and not being the most morally okay character. And I'd be so curious to see what he takes from the League of Assassin training. Like, how much does he take from his father? Is he willing to fully join their group and kill a couple people? Like, I could see that being a world where a Turner character could do that. Like, he doesn't have that line that I think Batman directly has. So
I mean, he's operated in such a gray area, and he's been told so many different things. Like, throughout the course of the season, he went from not really knowing much about his parents' death to then thinking that Bruce killed his parents, to now learning that his parents were not the greatest people and they were actually sent to Gotham to kill Batman, and Bruce kind of rescued him. Yeah. And that's kind of, but now he's with the organization that his parents were with. So it's a very, very interesting spot to put him in. And if we were to go into a season 2, I could definitely see him, training with them for a while and then maybe being, sent back to Gotham with some devious tasks, and then it's up to the Knights to kind of, like, I guess kind of try to break through to him, kind of get him to come back to the light side, come back to the team and everything. And I think also the way that we left Duella off is kind of like the surrogate leader of the team now. Like, she's the one that kind of kept everybody together at the end, was like, hey, this is how we honor Turner's memory and everything like that. We gotta stick together as a team and stuff. And I think, she would have her own story, trying to do the very similar thing with Harvey, try to bring him back, because we did get some really nice stuff there too, with them kind of having that, like, the father-daughter moment, and kind of Harvey being like, I recognize all the stuff that I've put you through and everything, and I just want to try to be better and stuff. But he ends up kind of sacrificing himself by, flipping over to the Two-Face personality. But it definitely also seems like Two-Face in a way kind of cares about her as well.
In a weird way.
In a very weird way, which brings us kind of to that end scene, which I loved, where he goes to confront Duella's mom and is like, I'm gonna give you a chance here. Flips the coin very Two-Face way and just kind of like, shifts it from one hand to the other. Heads you die, tails you don't. It obviously lands on heads, and I could definitely see him in kind of like that anti-hero almost role for another season. But
I will say, I think there's something kind of nice about ending here, just because I've always been very worried about Two-Face, because CW has done these anti-hero characters a lot, and a lot of times they don't end well, right? We have your Malcolm Merlyn, you have your Killer Frost, we have your Alice, and 9 times out of 10 they overstay their welcome. Like, they start off a villain and we love them, and then by season 2 and 3 and 4 you want to keep them on the show and you kind of dig them into the ground. And there's something kind of nice that this is the legacy of this character, is he's just a villain. And he's a really good version of this character. Like, over on Twitter, he went pretty viral, and everyone's talking about how cool he looks and how good he is as a character. He's like, hey, this is pretty cool. So there's kind of something nice about, like, this is the legacy of this version of the character. Just good Two-Face, not team Batman pretend, like saving Gotham City as it could have gone if they went long enough. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, I could definitely see this almost being like it was a nice parallel, right? So we got very much so a redemption arc for Duella, but a villain arc for Harvey, and I think that's a very interesting spot to kind of put the both of them in. And I think you'll always have that Harvey personality deep down that is still a good person and everything like that, still kind of wants what's best, but Two-Face now has control. Like, bro got hit with the chemicals. His face is all burnt up. Like, that was the last straw. Like, he is full on Two-Face. The prosthetics look great.
Harvey. No.
Yep. We got that. We got it.
Like, Duella could have easily been like, no, Harvey, or something,
Well, I think she said, like, Dad, no.
Oh, really?
Or something.
Oh, I didn't
yeah.
get it.
Yeah, so it was interesting too. I was very shocked too that she kind of like, accepted it that quick, like within that little convetion when they were tied to the bomb.
Dad?
Yeah. She's like, yeah, okay, you're my dad now. Like, that's it.
No. I mean, I do want to talk about Duella and kind of tracking back to what you're saying about Turner, because I think they're I kind of do really enjoy them as a couple. I really do. I think they make a fun thing. I think going into next season, I think Turner really going into his dark side next season maybe, and then Duella like being the hero that Turner wanted her to be. Like, that could have been such a good back and forth of her trying to get Turner back at all costs, and Turner kind of, I don't know if he would go as far to start killing people, but like if he's part of the League, kind of have to.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he'd go that far or what, but it also kind of just depends on like how long they planned on having him be there. Like, they could have easily done like a big time jump, like maybe do a year time jump or something like that, and then comes back episode 1 and does some like some flashbacky things here and there.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
well,
I guess in my head I imagine it like a half a season arc. It's him and like all training and doing all
yeah,
this stuff,
yeah.
and that probably like they probably wouldn't want to make a whole set for all these like League of Assassin characters and stuff, unfortunately. But
Yeah, I mean, I could have easily seen season 2 being like full on like League of Assassins are the
I would have liked
villains.
that.
Like I think it was also a very nice visual seeing like, when Turner was trying to escape the building and everything like that, and we had Rebecca come back after she had been like injected with all the rest of the Electrum by Brody and everything, and she's like kind of like almost like zombified for a second, and like the Talons are there, and Turner thinks all hope is lost, and then the League just comes in with these like laser guns and just like makes really quick work of them. It's like, yeah, don't worry about the court. Like, you're coming with us. Like, asset secured or something, whatever they said. So, you're muted.
I saw some people say that like they thought that was Bruce. Like Bruce sent people to save Turner or whatever. But I think Leak makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
What did you think when you just saw this like man approach? Because at first, I for a second
I was so
Bruce?
confused. Yeah, well,
I was Bruce.
No, like I was so confused. I was like, what the heck is this like Spec Ops like team or whatever? And then I thought back to like, okay, they did set this up a little bit earlier when they were talking about Turner's parents and stuff like that. Like this group of assassins, but they might be more so of a league.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I think League. I think they would have been a solid upgrade from Court of Owls because they're like you can still make them relatively cheap. I think these like cheap ninja type creatures next season. Yeah.
And that's kind of where the game went too. Is we started with the Court of Owls at the beginning part of the game, and then it slowly transitioned into League of Assassins. Talia al Ghul was kind of like the ended up being the big bad for
Talia
the
would have
game.
been cool. Like, I feel like we don't normally get Talia as the main villain. It's always Roz, but like, Talia as the main villain could have been really sick.
Yeah, because Gotham Knights game, Raish dies at the beginning. Like, so that's kind of how Bruce originally died in the Gotham Knights game. Is there was a fight in the Batcave. Things end up getting explosive. The Batcave blows up, and they're both dead. But Talia ends up reviving Bruce with the Lazarus Pit at the end of the game, and then Bruce sacrifices himself again, and he's dead at the end of it. Don't have to worry about that. I did send you something on Twitter, which was very fun. My pitch for I saw season 2. It was like just like super random. How I've been talking about Red Hood coming in, all that type of stuff. I think that almost would make even more sense now with the League, right? So imagine Turner comes into the League, and while he's training with Raish and the rest of the League of Assassins and stuff like that, Jason's already been revived by the Lazarus Pit, and then they send him to Gotham to go wreak some havoc and stuff like that, and the Knights have to, fight him and everything like that, and maybe he ends up, turning into some sort of an anti-hero, and then Two-Face comes back as well. So I don't know. They're just random thoughts.
Really want Red Hood. I love it.
Yeah, and of course, to get the perfect Red Hood, he would be played by yours truly.
Yeah, no, I think I would have liked the League of Assassins for season 2. Like, I was thinking about it earlier. I was thinking, okay, season 1, Court of Owls. Season 2, either Roz or like Talia or whatever. Season 2, just do Cluemaster, because I think I could see that like evolution. Like, that feels like a whole nother season to set him up, and then season 3 fully do him as a villain, and then 4 have Harvey be the full main villain. Like, these last 3 seasons were really setting him up, have him grow his like crime empire. Season 4, you fully do him. And then if you get a season 5, if you wanted to do a 5th final season, you could probably pull it full circle and have it be the court again. Like someone has been slowly rebuilding it. I even had the idea of it's like, what if it's Brody? Like Brody has been slowly like undercover for 5 seasons straight. And he's like, it was me all along. And he like, I think that'd be an insane twist.
I guess maybe, that actually brings up something interesting. One, I guess, unresolved thing, right? What happened to Lincoln? Because when
Oh, yeah.
Rebecca like poisoned him, right? Didn't she say, okay, this isn't gonna kill you, but it'll knock you out long enough, and then you'll get, framed for everything
Uh-huh.
with the court. Whatever happened, that
I don't
was
remember.
that felt like somewhat of a dropped story. Like, I don't know. Maybe he just died, and that was it. But
Yeah, I mean, I could have seen a world where he does, like, he wakes up and then over the 5 seasons or whatever, he
right, kind of like slowly
his
rebuilds
empire.
the court.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we
That
get
could've been
full on
cool.
Owlman.
Oh, all right. We kind of did the same thing here as we talked about the cliffhanger first.
Yeah.
What did you? I kind of want to hear your thoughts on just the overall that big fight scene with like the whole knights. Because I wasn't a huge fan of all that, but I'm thinking that maybe you were.
Oh, I liked it. I thought it was fun. Like the episode opened up in a very fun way with just like the interrogation and them kind of like explaining the Court of Owls and everything, and like all the cops being like, "What are you talking about? Like this doesn't make any sense. Talons, the Court of Owls, craziness. Like, nah, you guys killed Bruce. You killed the all these, Gotham elite and stuff like that. And then the Talons break into the GCPD and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, you guys weren't messing around. And then they get Bruce's arsenal basically, and just get to go to town on these Talons, and all the Talons looked really cool. They had their own unique melee weapons. I did think it was funny how they just kind of like took care of them. Harper ended up like finding this laser gun. Like the laser gun keeps coming back. Like
I thought it was the like Captain Cold gun at first.
Right?
I was like,
yeah.
What? Like, oh no.
Yeah, no, I thought it was like Mr. Freeze's gun or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, I guess Talons are just very susceptible to this like laser thing. So, that was pretty fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was the other stuff that took me out of the episode a little bit, and that's been not an issue this season, but a nitpick where like they do keep winning these fights when they're not very well trained, and I think them being able to beat them and not the cops who are 10 times as trained as these kids, I would assume, I would hope.
Well, I mean, no, I don't think the GCPD is very good, because remember the one cop that Cullen's been buddies with the entire season at the end? I thought that was nice too. Like, I know I'm skipping ahead a bit, but they kind of had like that mutual respect and everything, and he was like, "You're a better fake cop than a lot of these real cops," and I was like,
that was a great scene. I actually like I love that cop a lot. Like, he's one of the things I was wanting to see more of. I just want to see like that thing grow between him and Colin, and I think I would have loved to have seen a thing where maybe he tries to be a real cop, like he like over the seasons like slowly like goes through like academy and stuff. That could be a nice full circle kind of moment for him. If that's how you want to like end the show or something, is him retiring from being whatever hero he would
being a vigilante and like actually going that direction. That would be interesting. I did also think it was kind of an interesting spot to leave off. I think it would be interesting to explore in season 2, but the fact that all of the GCPD now knows who the Gotham Knights are. Like, the city doesn't know, but like they're in cahoots with the with the cops.
That could have been fun,
right? Like that I think that's an interesting take, where it's not like a Gordon who just knows or works with the vigilantes, but like the entire force of the GCPD is backing the Knights basically, and has also kept their secret.
It would have been kind of fun if you have like a new commissioner come in or something, and they don't know, but like the whole rest of
like all the police force completely knows.
And they can't, like, that's your drama for the season or whatever. That could have been kind of fun. No, I didn't even think about that until now, but I guess you're right, they would know. And very Arrow season 7, I guess, where like he was part of the police force and he was helping out people and stuff.
Right.
Would have been fun to see. Again, there's so many stuff. I think season 2 would have been so much better than season 1. Like, I really feel like they had to build their groundwork now, and some of that took a bit, and some of that was a little sloppy. But I think season 2 and 3 and maybe 4 or whatever could have been something special if they were given the chance. And there was a lot of missed opportunities, I guess. I do want to give a shout out to Brody. I don't know what it's been these last 2 episodes, but he fits in like he makes that team complete.
Yeah, I don't know why he works so well. Like, again, like I thought he was just like, your typical just like random dude bro, and then he get killed, and I was like, oh, that shows that his mom's pretty evil, all that type of stuff. But
I love him now.
then he comes back, he's got superpowers now basically, and he's just one of the team. And
I
it
like him
works.
more than Turner, which I did not think would happen. I do want to. What did you think of the Stephanie and I can never remember her name.
Harper.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Stephanie Harper stuff. I thought their scene in like the elevator was really funny. Like that felt like a good just cast moment. Just like,
it was great. They were like, so you two a thing now? And they were like, huh, what? And then Turner's like, yeah, it's pretty obvious. And they're like,
no, that was great. And that felt like the perfect balance of what they've done before. Like there's been scenes where like they're in the middle of a fight and they just kiss, or there'll be the whole like top surgery scene where they're in the middle of like police raiding them, and there's stuff like that where it's like, okay, not a great time, but that felt like the perfect moment
like,
for a
just
scene
waiting
like
for the
that.
elevator to go.
Yeah, no, that was great. That was fun.
Yeah.
I thought I'm trying to think. What do you think of Carrie this week? Because Carrie had a big thing with her mom. Her mom got stabbed. Which was a kind of brutal, like it was kind of a brutal moment.
Yeah, like for a second I thought she was like dead. I thought she was dead.
Oh yeah,
for a minute. Yeah. But yeah, no, I liked it, and it was kind of like her vigilante motivation, and it was also nice to see her mom like come to terms with like, okay, this is what Carrie's doing. This is she's very important, nice, and she just kind of very accepting of her going out there, and she's like, all right, Gotham City needs its Robin. And I thought that was really nice. I thought that was nice. And then she was okay at the end, so that's good.
I know I'm the villain, but I kind of wish she was dead. Like I wish, again, it's final season. I guess there's no need now, but I think it would have been a really telling scene if that scene happened with where she's like, you can't stay here, you have to go, and she has that speech in her mind. She's officially Robin. That's a Robin moment, and she dies while she's gone, and you show how brutal Gotham is, and that's her origin of being Gotham, is her last moments were spent out saving the people. I think that could have been a really tragic storyline for her going into season 2. Maybe too dark for its tone, because
it's weird. In many ways I thought that this season ended off in like somewhat of a bright way, in a very hopeful way, oddly. Like, the team thinks that Turner's dead, but they're not super sad about it. Like Duella's the only one that's like really, really broken up about it, which I think it's like kind of funny that like everybody else is like, okay, we're just moving on with our lives.
Alrighty.
It's like, all right, Turner's dead, whatever. But yeah, I think that they ended off in like in a nice spot, like in a very positive direction. I will say also another thing that wasn't like fully resolved, but I think we got a hint at it when Harvey like fully turned into Two-Face and everything, and then he went in the elevator and he killed that one court guy, and like then after they had saved Duella and stuff, and they went back into that elevator and they saw like kind of the aftermath of that, and they saw like the blood in there, and then we got those flashbacks of like Bruce's death and everything. Do you think that was showing us like Turner maybe putting the pieces together and thinking, oh, did Two-Face actually kill him? Like, I think that was the closest we got to confirmation on that. I thought that was where we were going with it, but we never really, got full closure on that. But I just think that kind of put the pieces together, and I'm going to go with it until somebody tells me otherwise, but I'm just still going with, Two-Face killed Bruce.
Yeah, no, I definitely think, and again, this was probably supposed to be a multiple season show, so I assume that they were setting that up for later on. I just kind of thought about it, like that would kind of been a cool story if like Turner is going through league training and he's going through other stuff, and now he's faced with like, he finds out that it was Harvey that killed him, and now he's like off to go kill Harvey, and then the like Knights have to like protect Harvey from Turner or something. Yeah, and that could have been a really cool.
Yeah, like that'd be crazy. like Raish is like, okay, now to complete your training, your final mission, kill the man who killed your father. And then you have like Duella have to like step in there, but also, how does she feel about everything? Because Two-Face killed her mom. It's because it's her father, but also Two-Face just killed her mom, and like obviously they didn't end on the best of terms, but I don't think she wanted her dead.
No.
So it's so like, oh man,
that sounds so good.
There was so much potential here. Like they really just like prematurely canceled this. Like,
It just sounds like a better
tough.
version of Arrow season 3 because
Yeah,
I don't.
It does.
Season 3 of Arrow has a lot of things I like, but I think doing League of Assassins on that show was a misstep. Like, I'm fine using like Deathstroke and stuff. I was fine with that. I think Ra's al Ghul was a step too far. I really do.
Yeah.
And I would have even preferred, again, if you did like a Talia or like a Nissa for your main villain instead. I think that's maybe a step. I don't like. I think you having Oliver get to the point where he can kill Ra's was. I wasn't a huge fan of that. I thought. I don't know. I think Ra's should have been a character where like maybe he couldn't defeat it. Like Ra's was too strong, but like
it was kind of going with the whole thing. Like they obviously wanted Arrow to be a Batman show. Like it was like very early on. It was very very apparent that they wanted it to be a Batman show, and then it kind of transitioned away from that. I don't have a lot of an issue with it, but yeah, I think that the whole League and Ra's al Ghul story was not done super well in Arrow, and I think Gotham Knights had the opportunity to do it much better. I don't think that the League of Assassins was done super well on Gotham either.
No,
like Ra's was not around for very long.
Worse, I think.
Bruce killed him too. Yeah. And I think he actually. Oh no, and he killed. No, okay. He killed Alfred and then dumped this man in the Lazarus pit to bring him back.
Oh yeah.
And then that was then that got to the whole thing of I will not kill. Like, I mean, it got us to a good point or a good part, but Bruce literally had to kill
Season
Alfred.
3 was rough.
It was wild.
Season 3 was a journey.
He literally had to kill Alfred and then bring him back with the Lazarus pit to realize, oh yeah, I don't want to kill people.
Man, there's a part of me that wishes that show would come out now because I would love to week review that show because it's just it'd be so much fun.
I've been thinking about going back and at least doing like a finale retrospective or something. That'd be fun.
I don't know if I could ever rewatch Gotham. Like, I love Gotham. I love a lot of things about Gotham, but that was a journey. Those 100 episodes.
I think it's interesting too is the first season for me, like I watched like maybe like half of the first season when it first came out and I just wasn't interested because it was very much so just it was a cop show and I wasn't like super into that, but it like slowly got more and more like comic booky. Yeah, it got more and more comic booky as it went on, and that was another show that like didn't have the strongest first season but just got better and better, I think, with each season, which I think is the route that Gotham Knights would have taken.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm kind of worried about, like, because like Matt Reeves wants to do like a GCPD show.
Yeah, and
that sounds so boring to me.
But that's just Gotham. That's Gotham.
The worst parts of Gotham.
Yeah,
because like he wants it really grounded and really like, and that doesn't sound. I think that's the one thing where, like, I'm excited for Penguin. I bet Penguin's going to be great, but I don't care. I really don't think I'm gonna like that show because that's just not my style of show, you know.
And because it's interesting too, is because I think that's what they wanted Gotham to be. It was very evident that they wanted that, and like Bruce wasn't really in season 1 very much either. And I liked how they decided to kind of take a turn. We're like, okay, we're gonna do things a little bit differently. We're going to establish all these villains, and it's going to be this time the villains that create Batman rather than Batman creating the villains.
Yeah, very Elseworlds, which I've always loved. I always wanted Gotham to start a year before the like Wayne's death, though. Like I always thought that would have been such a fun like lead into it, and then your season 1 finale is their death, and like you get to see, because we never get to like we don't get to live in that time era, getting to see like Bruce with his parents. I think that could have been a fun.
Oh yeah, that would be a different take for sure.
Very different. Already. Obviously, you know, this being a show you loved, is there anything we didn't mention that you wanna bring up here?
How did you feel about the Rebecca wrap up? Because I thought that was like kind of quick, but also like it didn't need to go super far. Like how are you feeling about that?
I think Rebecca was okay. I think her motivations for me fall not flat, but a little two-dimensional, right?
Yeah,
like,
it seemed very just like classic villain.
Yeah.
By the end.
Yeah. I liked her thing where she's like, if I'm going down, you're going down with me type scene. I thought that was really fun.
Yeah. There wasn't too much complexity. Like I think that they somewhat dropped the ball with that, but it wasn't like the biggest deal. Like I think like the revelation that she was in charge of the court was much better than than anything that came after that, I think.
it felt like her ultimate goal kind of just ultimately came down to she wants Harvey. I think that's
Yeah,
kind of a weird way to go. I don't know.
right.
Maybe it would have been cool to see what she would have done with these. I don't know, like what her ultimate goal was, I guess, because there
Yeah, it
wasn't
was
much there.
Yeah, it was a little weird. Like she's like, okay, I've planted all these bombs in these Alan Wayne buildings, and it's like, okay,
Yeah,
if you defuse the main bomb, then all the other ones are gonna go off. But if you let the main bomb go off, then for some reason all the other bombs are not gonna go off.
it's very Joker. Like it feels like she was doing it just to do it. Like it's a fun
Yeah,
little game.
yeah. She was like, okay, I'm gonna cause some havoc on my way out.
Sure, it feels like something you'd want to give like your Clue Master type character or something,
Hmm.
like a fun game to play on the characters.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. It was fine. I didn't have an issue with it. Like until you brought it up, I was like, oh yeah, she kind of didn't do much, did she?
Yeah, that was like my only thing. I was like, she wasn't really there much, but then she did create Two-Face fully. So, that was the
Yeah.
big thing. That was the big thing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all I have. I mean, I kind of hate to end it because like this is the last
Yeah.
time we'll probably ever talk about Gotham Knights on here, unless Netflix wants to be like, you know what, the show's doing really well. Let's pick it up. I don't think that world happens, but
I don't
I
think it
would love to see
happens
it.
super soon. Like I think that that's maybe something that could happen like a year or so down the track,
Hmm.
but I don't think it's like the next season. Like I don't think like in the next like television season. I don't think something crazy is going to happen and we'll get it like this time next year. But
I want to see how the writer strike goes. I want to see because I could see a world where maybe if a lot of streamers don't have content, maybe they go out of their way. It's like, all right, what are some already established shows
right.
with already established like fandoms?
Mhm.
Could we see a world where they're like, all right, give me Legends, Gotham Knights, Stargirl, and let's just start production on all these seasons or something.
Yeah.
And
Well, I did see something very interesting. I did want to bring this up is the co-creator Natalie Abrams did bring up the fact that the show kind of like served its purpose in a way to like not only bring the cast and crew together but to bring together like this fandom online, and I think that that's probably going to be like the biggest legacy of the show is the fact that it started off as very much so like an underdog production.
yeah,
Not a lot of people gave it much thought. They were like, "Oh, it's just another Batman show without Batman." But throughout the course of the short 13 episodes that it had, it really grew into its own thing, and again brought together a nice community of people that really loved the show and gave us something fun to enjoy week to week, and it gave us something to
mhm.
talk about week to week and everything. And I think you know at the end of the day, we'll always be grateful for that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I will always respect the show a lot. Like, it turned into a show that didn't even know if I wanted to watch it at first. Again, I
Yeah.
was so mad about Batwoman and Legends, and just at first, definitely felt like a slap in the face to those fans. And
Hmm.
I still somewhat think that, like, canceling one Bat show and giving us another the year later, it
Yeah.
is it's
Yeah, I
hard.
mean, it is a little, yeah.
But like I like Gotham Knights season one more than I like Legends season one and Batwoman season one, which
Yep.
I never thought I'd say. And I think they've turned their like I was thinking about it the other day. I think I made a tweet about it. Like I think the highlight of the show is their found family, and
Hmm.
I don't think Supergirl found that in the first season. I don't think
No.
Legends definitely did not. Like Legends is all about fun family, and they didn't get that until like mid season two, and it
Hmm.
already feels like this cast knows and love each other so much. Like it feels like they are
Yeah.
an actual family.
Right, and it just like it oddly like felt very complete by the end of the season. Like it
It
felt
did,
like a
yeah.
complete vision seen out to the end. Like obviously
Hmm.
they wanted to do more. It's left off in a spot where more could happen, but it also again just feels like a very complete story. And in a lot of ways, I am content with that as well. It doesn't overstay its welcome, I guess
Sure.
is almost the best way to put it.
No, it doesn't. I think a lot of these shows that they do, like the craziness that they do, people will
Hmm.
like look back and be like, oh, they did that crazy storyline where Two Face became a butterfly and took and took control of Gotham, and the weird storylines that CW's like comes up with, and like I can look at a thing like Two Face and be like, he was a great Two Face. No,
Yeah.
there's no downsides to it. He was just a great Two Face, and that can be its legacy. But of course, I would love for it to have another life. And again, on another streaming, this could be a top tier show. Like if you keep the writing talents here, upgrade them a little bit, give them proper suits, because that's what I want. I think that's the thing about the show is, if you give a season 2 and 3, as much as I liked it now, it's always going to be the show like, oh, it's the Bat Family without the suits and characters. And I think that's the biggest drawback from the show.
We got proto suits, but I think if we had gotten a season 2, we would have gotten something closer to actual like comic book looking suits.
Yeah, and I would love a world like if you could like it goes to max, and then you can get like if you can get a Red Hood and like a Barbara. And some of those bigger villain like IPs and like the suits, like that's Gotham Knights, and I think you can actually have a really good Gotham Knight story.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I think they also did a really good job of making the city of Gotham feel like a character, and that's kind of what you always have to do with any Batman story. Is Gotham is a character of its own.
I think that's one thing Batwoman failed on. Like Batwoman, Gotham and Batwoman felt very just.
It looked like it was Chicago.
It's just Star City. Yeah. But I mean, just like look back to like the Gotham TV show. Like that city was insane. Like that had such this eerie vibe. I think that will forever probably be my favorite Gotham. Like it's such an eerie vibe to it.
Especially since we spent so long there too. It was able to just fully establish itself.
And just that era of like DC TV did a great job at that. Like Central City back on like early Flash, that was a character, and Star City and even National City. I think less so National City, but still had its own kind of personality. And each city had their own flair, which was was really cool.
Oh yeah, well, always love that. But
already, it's been almost 3.5 hours, easily. Our longest
That is the record.
I think like from my channel and yours, longest we streamed together.
Yes.
Which I kind of thought like we've been talking about it throughout the week.
I was prepared to go pretty long.
Yeah. I've been really excited though, because I think this is easily the most excited I've ever been to stream. At least on my own channel. Just because, again, it's such a great time to be a fan. It's such a great just so much goodness to talk about. And next week we have one show. That's it, I think. Unless we get any massive news. So So let's just kind of jump into some updates. Taz, do you have any updates for your channel over the next week or so?
Yes, I will be hard at work on my finale breakdowns. Gotham Knights breakdown is coming first. I'm going to be working on that, and then going over to my Superman and Lois finale breakdown. So those will both be out in the next week or so. And then, I mean, I'll just be popping in from streams, on streams from time to time and everything like that. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the moment. Just focusing on those big breakdowns, and I've already started on the scripts and stuff. So get ready for that.
Very, very excited for those. I love seeing your, all of your videos. It's sad though that this is kind of end of DC TV for a while, at least in the CW form. For me, I do want to give a little bit of an update. In the past, I've been streaming twice a week. I've been having a blast, but I'm going forward most weeks, unless something comes up. I'm planning to only stream once a week, unless something comes up I want to do. I mean, just for context, Taz knows, I stream quite a bit. I would do 2 times on my channel, then Lance's channels, then sometimes your channel, and then not to mention if Eric wants to do something, or any I've had other people be like, hey, do you want to do this thing? And it becomes a lot. And I also want to make regular videos as well. Just a couple of things I want to start doing to make more room for some other stuff. So the plan right now is for most weeks to just do one. Probably stick to. I really like this Tuesday or Wednesday time slot. I've been having a lot of fun with that. I don't know what Taz's schedule is always like, but we can always work around that.
Oh yeah, very flexible. Can always make time for the pipeline.
I also just want to kind of talk about what I want to do, because again, this show was built on Flash, Superman, Lois, and Gotham Knights, and they're all over now. So the next couple weeks, obviously, Secret Invasion for the next only 4 weeks now. I kind of expected it to last longer, but the thing about it is only 6 weeks. But I also want to cover Harley Quinn a little bit on here. Probably not too much, because Taz, you haven't seen it, right?
No, I need to catch up.
Okay.
I need to catch up. I will get to that. I will say I'm sorry. I have started rewatching or kind of fully watching Batman Beyond, and I'm kind of hooked on that right now. I'm halfway through season 2, so I don't have too much left. But
I haven't seen it.
It's really good, but it's
I
definitely a product of the late 90s.
I need to get caught up with like the whole DCAU. Like
Yeah.
when like Blind Wave started like Batman the Animated Series, I started it and then I stopped it because I haven't fully seen that either.
Mm.
Um, but just kind of Harley Quinn, like this new Superman show that's coming up, Secret Invasion. I also kind of want to do more. And obviously, I'll have to talk about Taz, see what have to come together to come up with some fun topics. But I would love to do topic streams more as well, where
Yeah.
we just pick a topic and be like, okay, this is what we want to do. Like I know a couple weeks ago, one of our early streams, I think over on your channel, we talked about like picking a moment from the Arrowverse and changing that moment to see what that
Yeah.
moment changes. Like
Like
stuff
a
like
one
that.
small change.
I think could be really fun. Some more rankings I want to start doing. There's so many we can do. Like there's rankings and quizzes. I would love to do more of that stuff going into the future. Because again, entertainment's changing this year. I think we're going to, after Secret Invasion ends, there's not going to be a lot out. Like late summer, early fall might be a dry spot for us. So I'm very excited to do some fun things on the channel. Podcast still not on Spotify yet. I got like 3 episodes up. I have to upload like 29 of these things, so it might take a little bit. But if you want to watch those first 3 episodes, they're on Spotify right now. All that jazz. Yeah, but without further ado, Taz, you got anything you want to shout out or say before we get out of here?
No, I mean I think that's just about it. Just stay tuned on the channel for the breakdowns coming soon. And yeah, I've been really enjoying this, and it's nice to kind of come full circle here. We basically started at the beginning of the season,
Yes,
and we saw it out through to the end, and I've loved every single week of this.
absolutely. I know it's been such a crazy thing, like having you on as just a one-time guest, and now a more regular guest on here. It's been a great ride. I love it.
Same.
Joseph Vanner, thank you for, and again, I want to thank everyone. This has been a long stream. A lot of you stayed for the majority of it. I appreciate it. There's been so much chat happening. I love that. That literally means the world to me when that happens. But yeah, I will see you guys on the flip side. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.